Chapter 221. Trouble? Are you afraid that the Netherworld sect will settle the score with you after dealing with me? Sect Master Lin is indeed smart. Li Yi immediately nodded. Don't worry, Nuba won't be interested in Jixia Library. When Lin Yu blurted out these words, Li Yi was stunned for a moment. In the past, he would have flipped out, but now Li Yi breathed a sigh of relief. Turns out that being weak has its benefits. I'm old, Sect Master Lin, don't lie to me. I won't find trouble with you. Lin Yu put a hand on Li Ye's shoulder. You can move to the island now. The remnants of the Raging Fire Temple should have been cleaned up. Jixia Library can be neighbors with Loki sect. This, Li Ye's old face was overjoyed. This is a good idea. Although he had not known Lin Yu for long, he had already determined Lin Yu's strength. This kid would never be at a disadvantage. Li Yi felt that it was a good idea to be tied to Loki's sect before Nuba arrived. Then I'll leave immediately. I'll lend you a free ride for your people from Loki's sect and send you back. Lin Yu smiled and cupped his fists. Thank you, Imperial Preceptor. Li Ye's suspended heart finally settled down. Lin Yu had caused the disaster himself and solved it himself. It would be best if he could hide far away and stay out of it. Moreover, there were people from Loki's sect. Li Yi thought that if something really happened, at least there would be people to accompany him to the grave. Seeing Li Yi leave, the room returned to calm. Lin Yu estimated the time. Nuba should be here soon. He decided not to sleep and sent a few words to Qin-ji, asking them to return to Loki's sect first. He also asked her to distribute the territory she had bought to the low-level sects as a branch. Then, he immediately left the island and stepped into the air. In the blink of an eye, the island below also began to move slowly in the middle of the night. His destination was naturally in the direction of Loki's sect. Li Yi did not want others to know that he was running away. At least it would be better if they found out later, so this time, the movement was extremely small. In the night, a continent had already left the ocean at a low speed. As for Lin Yu, he was alone in the demonic beast forest in the sky. It seems that you have already grasped the full power of the Nirvana fruit in one day. Lin Yu stood in front of the demon cave and sensed the aura inside. No one dared to come up here. It was pitch black all around. Only Lin Yu's voice could be heard. In your current state, you can block one of Nuba's attacks. Lin Yu once again sensed Blackfeather's aura. After estimating it, an ancient and strange voice came from within. Human, what do you want? The voice seemed to be curious about Lin Yu's thoughts. I want all of your power. Lin Yu said indifferently, but He Yu's voice was filled with disdain. Even if I give it to you now, you won't be able to withstand it. Of course. Lin Yu shrugged. If he could bear it now, he would have already swallowed the Nirvana fruit. Do you know what realm you need to be in to withstand my current strength? That voice said again. Grand Supreme. Lin Yu finished speaking indifferently and was immediately refuted by the voice in the cave. No, even the laws are no more than ants, let alone Grand Supreme. Not so. Lin Yu also raised the corner of his mouth and retorted, Grand Supreme is enough. He still believed in his judgment. The voice hesitated for a long time before it said, Grand Supreme? Perhaps your Grand Supreme realm is different from those mortals. Lin Yu smiled confidently. It's good that you know. With that, he turned and left. Wait. Lin Yu turned around with great interest. What's wrong? Don't die. Hearing that, Lin Yu looked at the pitch-black cave in surprise. Your growth is quite impressive. It seems that you've already noticed it? After a long time, a voice came from the cave. The art of blood refining the heart meridians. I didn't expect that later generations of humans could create such a powerful thing. If you die, I die. If you live, I live. Very good. Lin Yu smiled with satisfaction and confirmed his thoughts. Later generations of humans. He knew that the art of blood refining the heart had been passed down to him for 1,000,000 years. and Heiyu called it later generations, which meant that Heiyu came from 1,000,000 years ago. Is it the era that was forgotten by the world? Lin Yu murmured in his heart. Don't worry, I won't die so easily. He raised his head and looked around the demon beast forest. If this place becomes a secret realm of the star field, a public secret realm, then you will have an endless supply of food. However, I don't know if you can stop those people. Presumptuous. Heiyu's voice was filled with rage. The entire demonic beast's forest started to shake violently. The ground around Lin Yu instantly shattered. Only the ground under Lin Yu's feet was still intact. The current Heiyu no longer dared to hurt Lin Yu. Human, I am not someone you can underestimate. Very good. Lin Yu raised his hand. Then let's make this place a secret realm where everyone knows there are treasures. Let food come to the door. Since Heiyu was confident, Lin Yu didn't mind making it bigger. He had done a lot of exploring secret realms. It was his first time creating a secret realm treasure. It was like a farmer planting a seed. Lin Yu was this farmer. After you deal with Nuba, I will let people spread the news about this secret realm. Lin Yu suddenly looked forward to it. At that time, the power here, how many people who were not afraid of death could be attracted? But in the end, Lin Yu was the only one who benefited from all of their fights. He set up a secret realm trap to deceive the world. At that time, I want to see your growth. After saying that, when Lin Yu was about to leave, he saw the force under his feet. Suddenly a dark storm spread. Lin Yu's clothes fluttered and his black hair flapped. He didn't resist at all. He had already sensed a terrifying force that was quickly drilling into his body. My clan has never owed humans. Lin Yu listened and smiled. He closed his eyes and let the black light engulf him. After dawn, when he opened his eyes, it was as if there were stars flashing in his eyes. Lin Yu stood up, and the aura in his body suddenly burst out. Cultivation, battle physique, divine will. At this moment, he broke through in all aspects. 4 suns transcendent realm. 5 suns transcendent realm. 6 suns transcendent realm. Lin Yu's arm made cracking sounds. He raised his right hand and clenched his fist. The yin-yang qi instantly gathered, and a storm blasted out with his fist. This yin-yang qi storm was unstoppable, crushing countless trees. It directly penetrated outside the monster beast forest and disappeared into the clouds. The remaining force caused the wind and clouds to reverse, and the moonlight was instantly cut into fragments. Lin Yu stretched out his hand. He judged that with his current yin-yang realm cultivation, he could crush all invincible realm opponent. With other trump cards, even if he encountered a Grand Supreme, he might be able to fight. However, Lin Yu's new strength was not limited to that. The next moment, he felt a sharp pain on his back. Chapter 222. Pain spread throughout his body. At this time, Lin Yu's backbones actually began to shift, and 2 cracks quickly appeared. Lin Yu clenched his teeth tightly. After enduring the intense pain, the 3 elements in one realm in his body gradually disappeared. His glory chi was also absorbed into his body at this moment. Suddenly, Lin Yu looked like an ordinary person. However, a pair of wings suddenly spread out behind his back. The wings were pitch black. It was a pair of black wings that were about 2 feet long. This power. Lin Yu looked at his palm. At this moment, the black light was like smoke covering his entire body. In my current state, I can only hold on for 3 breaths. He immediately made a judgment. There was not much time left. Lin Yu's right hand casually chopped down in a direction. In an instant, the night of the demon beast forest seemed to be covered by an even deeper layer of darkness. And this darkness was fleeting. When Lin Yu exhaled, his black wings and the black aura around his body had already dissipated. His glory chi and 3 elements in one realm returned to normal. A sense of weakness came from his feet. It was as if the night just now had drained all his strength. However, Lin Yu looked at the direction he swung his arm. There, a bottomless crack started from his arm and connected to the edge of the demon beast forest. In the next moment the earth trembled. Almost half of the demon beast forest began to break. Lin Yu immediately took a few steps forward and jumped away from the broken area. Turning around to look, the tide surged into the sky. Half of the demon beast forest was already submerged in the sea. One move cut the demon beast forest in half? This was a continent equivalent to Jixiao Library and Raging Fire Temple. It was even bigger than Cold Moon Palace's 9 mountains. This is the first time a human uses my race's power. It's actually so powerful. In the cave, He Yu's voice sounded again. There was also shock in his tone. Obviously, even he did not expect Lin Yu to be able to unleash such terrifying power. This is the power of that era? The corner of Lin Yu's lips curled up. Unfortunately, he had used up all his energy in one move. Right now, he was sitting cross-legged. Large amounts of glorious bot were being refined by the true fire of the sun, turning into pure energy that entered his body and restored his condition. After doing all this, Lin Yu cupped his fists and left. To think that the humans of the future still remember the yin-yang realm's cultivation method and can even perfectly use the power of our race. Inside the cave, after the murmuring, everything returned to normal. Lin Yu realized that the current He Yu could already support half of the demonic beast forest on his own. Thus, he took away the Nirvana Universe staff. After doing all this, an aura suddenly broke through the sky. If an ordinary person saw it, they might think that it was daybreak. However, only Lin Yu knew that the army of the Hellgate had arrived. He did not want to be drawn into a battle between law realms right now. Lin Yu shifted his body and left the sea. At the same time, he picked up a phoenix-tailed chicken that had fallen from the demonic beast forest. This chicken was a Samsara realm demon beast, but its combat strength was extremely low. Lin Yu felt that it was one of the few delicacies that had top-notch meat. After landing on the shore, Lin Yu set up a frame and took a few withered branches. Then, he activated the true fire of the sun and started a fire. With a sweep of his aura, the phoenix-tailed chicken immediately lost all its feathers and internal impurities. At the same time, the sky flickered. As the wind swept through the clouds, he saw a terrifying battle erupting in the direction of the demonic beast forest. Fortunately, Lin Yu was now thousands of feet away. Otherwise, he would have been affected. From the fluctuations of the battle, Lin Yu could tell that there were 3 Law Realm auras. Nu Ba and Qi Mei's auras. Looks like the 4 ghost generals should be here as well. Lin Yu roasted the phoenix-tailed chicken and looked at the surging sea. His heart was calm. But soon, the fluctuations of the battle gradually dissipated. This made Lin Yu feel that something was wrong. It shouldn't end so quickly. He closed his eyes and sat cross-legged. Using the space-time divine movement technique, he instantly fell into the cave. Inside the cave, He Yu's aura was chaotic. "You've disappointed me too much," Lin Yu said indifferently. He knew that He Yu had lost. Outside the cave, Nu Ba's aura was the strongest. There were also Qi Mei and Wang Liang, who were slowly approaching. "You've sucked away too much of my power." He Yu's helpless voice came. Only then did Lin Yu remember and smiled awkwardly. "Could it be that you gave me your power just now and it affected your combat strength?" "I didn't want to give you so much." He Yu stopped talking. Lin Yu shrugged. It seemed that his potential was too great and he had absorbed too much of He Yu's power. From the start, this fellow probably only wanted to give Lin Yu less than half of the power of night. "Ha, you're really stingy. Just a little bit of your power and you want to die? Fine, I'll help you." Lin Yu spread out his divine sense. He Yu didn't reject him and fused together with Lin Yu. In an instant, Lin Yu's true body on the shore began to emit a black light. "I only have 1 breath of time." He clenched his teeth and the wings behind him suddenly bloomed. At this time, outside the demon cave, Wang Liang was the first to approach. Be careful. Chi Mei vigilantly stared at the demon cave. Chi Mei smiled in disdain. He's already been defeated. The things in this mystic realm are nothing more than this. Beside him, a black-clothed middle-aged man also smiled. Once Lady Nuba takes action, there is nothing in the star domain that can stop her mystic realm. But the moment their voices fell, in front of the demon cave, a black light covered the dawn sky. Within the cave, Lin Yu and He Yu had fused together. Lin Yu's icy and strange voice sounded out. Nightfall. The moment the words were spoken, the world seemed to close the window. The entire world was left with only darkness. But this darkness disappeared in an instant. Even for Nuba, she only opened her eyes when the darkness disappeared. However, she had already been excluded from the demonic beast forest. It was a woman with a cold expression. Her skin was frighteningly white and her eyes were blue. She didn't look like an ordinary human woman. Especially Nuba's head, which had a head of white hair. She looked like a demon but also a human. That was Nuba of the Hellgate. But at this moment, even her eyes were a little blank. Nuba had a bad feeling. When she stepped into the demon beast forest again, all the trees had turned to ashes and there were no more sounds of demon beasts. Under that nightfall, it was as if the god of death had passed through, all life was extinguished. My lord. In front of Nuba, a middle-aged man with a broken arm crawled over. It was Chi, the leader of demons and monsters. But at this moment, his aura of the law realm was extremely unstable and his expression was as dispirited as a mortal's. What happened? Nuba was shocked. From afar, she saw two figures again. They were Wang Liang and Wang Liang. But now, the two of them had been directly chopped off, turning into two corpses that couldn't be any more dead. She didn't see Chi Mei, but it wasn't difficult to guess that Chi Mei was most likely dead. Let's go. Nuba looked at the demon cave that had regained its calm. She helped Chi up and without thinking about anything else, she stepped into the air and left. Chapter 223. I haven't found Mei yet. Nuba ignored Chi's words and stepped out of Jixia Library's starry sky. She was certain that the moment the darkness descended, the power exceeded her understanding. It was not a power she could touch. A power above the laws. At the edge of the coast, the moment Lin Yu opened his eyes, he immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and took out a large amount of glory bot to recover. However, his injuries were too severe. He could not recover to his peak state in a short time. That power, I can't even withstand it for a moment? Lin Yu was not discouraged. Instead, his eyes were filled with desire and anticipation. But I'm very satisfied with this power. Although he could not keep Nuba, the two corpses of Wang Liang and Chi were enough for He Yu to digest them for a while. Lin Yu calmed his mind. The next moment, a slender figure suddenly flew out of the sea in front of him. His vision turned black as he was pressed down by the figure. You actually escaped here? Lin Yu saw the wet figure pressing down on him. It was Mei, who was ranked second among the 4 ghost generals. However, she was now unconscious on top of him. Interesting. To be able to escape from my black light, you're indeed a disciple favored by Xidigarba. Lin Yu smiled faintly. He wanted to kill all 4 ghost generals. However, it was too difficult for him to withstand He Yu's power, which allowed Mei and Chi to escape. Now, Mei had passed through the sea. She had probably used up her last bit of strength to reach the coast. Since you're not dead, I'll spare your life. Lin Yu pushed her away. What entered his eyes was Mei's exquisite appearance. This woman's beauty was comparable to Nuba. The so-called ghost generals were because their cultivation techniques came from the ghost sect, not because they were ghosts themselves. Therefore, Mei was still a woman, an extremely beautiful woman. Lin Yu did not have the strength to kill anyone now. He casually placed Mei aside and placed some restrictions on her. This place should be peaceful for now. Lin Yu estimated that it would take some time for the news of Hellgate's defeat and the matter of the outer region's secret realm to spread. He came to the bonfire. Dawn had just broken, and the first ray of light shone on the sea, reflecting the sparkling waves. Lin Yu tore off a drumstick and splashed the grease on the firewood. Sparks exploded like fireworks. Crackling sounds could be heard. May felt her eyelids grow heavy, but when she thought of the life and death crisis under the black light, she immediately jolted awake from her sleep. But what she saw in front of her was a youth gnawing on a drumstick. "You're awake." Lin Yu turned around, grease dripping from the corner of his mouth. When May saw this scene, she could not help but gulp. "You want to eat it?" Lin Yu spoke again and handed over a drumstick. May suddenly felt her stomach rumbling with hunger. With her current realm, she did not need to eat anymore. But for some reason, Lin Yu's phoenix-tailed chicken seemed to have added special seasoning, which greatly increased her appetite. But when May wanted to reach out to take it, she saw the bite mark on the drumstick. "You've eaten." May turned her face away in disgust and looked around. "Where is this? You don't even know where you are." Lin Yu took back the drumstick. Since she did not want to eat it, he would not keep it. May spread out her divine sense, wanting to wander the earth and figure out where she was. But before her divine sense could spread out a few feet, she felt a sharp pain in her head. "I advise you to take it easy. Your injuries won't heal so easily." Hearing this, Mei Jiao was stunned. "Who are you?" She took a closer look at Lin Yu and immediately took a few steps back. "It's you, the person in the demon cave. How did you recognize me?" Lin Yu ate the last piece of phoenix-tailed chicken and shrugged helplessly. At this moment, Mei was extremely wary of Lin Yu. Her divine sense was damaged, and her cultivation was almost completely sealed. How could she defeat the demon cave existence that she feared at her peak? "Are you really the thing in that mystic realm?" Mei asked again, her heart filled with shock. She had always thought that the existence in the cave could not leave. If not for that, she would not have been able to leave so easily during the battle between the princes. Yes and no. Lin Yu did not say much. "You don't need to know so much. You just need to know that your life is in my hands. What do you want to do?" "Nuba is already here." He. Lin Yu's laughter interrupted her. At this moment, May's heart tightened as she understood. Nuba lost too. If not for that, Nuba would not have allowed herself to be in trouble here, and Lin Yu would not be here, eating chicken. Nuba could not have lost. Impossible. May shook her head. Lin Yu smiled faintly. He felt that he could take advantage of the fact that the other party had not fully recovered her cultivation. Nuba is the god of the Ghost Gate. However, can the god of the Ghost Gate be ranked among the 7 great imperial gates? Lin Yu provoked the other party's heart and said, "The 4 great ghost generals, Qi, Mei, Wang, and Liang, have changed several generations. Unfortunately, each generation is worse than the last. This time, Wang Liang is dead, you are seriously injured, and Qi and Nuba have lost. The Ghost Gate was originally riddled with holes. After today's battle, I'm afraid that in the future, it will be even more difficult to walk on thin ice in the Imperial Gates." The more Mei listened, the more she felt that the other party was not simple. Especially when he said that Wang Liang was dead and Nuba had lost. She felt a chill down her spine. This sentence had broken all her belief. "You killed Wang Liang. You." Mei wanted to attack, but before she could use any strength, she felt intense pain spread throughout her body. She gritted her teeth and fell to the ground, curling up her petite body. Lin Yu picked up a handkerchief and wiped his mouth unhurriedly. Then, he walked in front of her and looked down. "You are useful to me. This is also the reason why you are not dead yet. Do you understand?" His voice was emotionless. When it reached Mei's ears, she felt as if she had fallen into an ice cave. But in the next moment, Lin Yu took out a large amount of glorious bot. After being tempered by the sun-true fire, he fused it into her lower abdomen. Mei gently pressed down and felt her body gradually warm up. The intense pain from her injuries also improved a lot at this moment. Lin Yu turned his back and looked into the distance. He could no longer see the demon beast forest in the sea fog. As the battle continued, and Lin Yu cut half of the demon beast in half at the beginning, Lin Yu also caused the entire sea to be covered in a thick fog. Lin Yu felt that this thick fog was the icing on the cake. It made the demon beast forest a little more mysterious. Lin Yu stood with his hands behind his back and said softly and calmly, "Killing Wang Liang is your punishment. Even if the people from the outer realms are weak, we will not allow you to use our people to sacrifice them." Chapter 224. He turned around and met Charm's gaze. The latter immediately understood. But the strong preys on the weak. That's the principle of this star zone. Charm retorted. She felt that she was not wrong. She did not care about sacrificing hundreds of people from the other regions to awaken a dangerous place that she had discovered but did not dare to explore further. Of course, there's nothing wrong with the strong preying on the weak. Lin Yu raised his hands. I don't talk reason when I eat chicken. Demons don't talk reason when they eat mortals. In this world, there are many things that don't need to be talked reason. As soon as he finished speaking, his 5 fingers formed a claw, and Nu Ba's drenched body was immediately sucked toward him. Lin Yu grabbed her neck with one hand and approached her. But I'm not talking reason with you. I'm only punishing the ghost sect, understand? If Li Yi and the others heard his words, and looked at Lin Yu's attitude toward Charm, Li Yi would definitely be so scared that his legs would go weak, and he would not be able to stand steadily. Back then, Li Yi had received Charm's orders. He did not even dare to resist and changed the rules of the Battle of the Princes. He had also chosen to sacrifice some people from the other regions in exchange for not offending the sects of the core star zones. Li Ye's actions were not wrong. It was just that was not Lin Yu's style. However, now, any one of the 4 ghost generals was the most powerful existence in the other regions. Now, they were either dead or injured under Lin Yu's schemes. One of them was right in front of Lin Yu, being toyed with like a toy. You're from the other regions, but when did such a powerful person appear in the other regions? Charm gritted her teeth and said. In the next moment, Lin Yu let go of her neck. Charm sat sideways on the ground, as if she had just survived a disaster. What do you want me to do? Lin Yu's few words had already made this existence in the law realm understand her situation. She also feared him from the bottom of her heart. 2 things. First, I need to borrow your annihilation laws, Yi Futian said. How do you know about my law? Otherwise, I can't use my law now. Charm immediately retorted. Asking her to use her law's power now was no different from asking her to commit suicide. Don't worry, I know your body better than you do. I will help you heal along the way. Lin Yu continued. The second thing I want you to do is to help me spread the word about what happened here once you're free. Mei's pretty face immediately turned angry. What do you mean by you know my body better than me? No man had ever dared to talk to her like that. Charm secretly swore that Lin Yu would be the last. Next time, she was not willing to accept such humiliation. However, she also looked at Lin Yu in confusion. What do you mean by matters here? Lin Yu arched an eyebrow. In the Outer Realms Demon Cave, the supremacy of creation, the Wangliang died tragically, and Nu Ba fled in defeat. I want everyone in the Emperor's Gate to know these words in the future. That's impossible. Mei gritted her teeth, straightened her body, and retorted. She struggled to get up. If she could use her battle prowess now, she would definitely kill Lin Yu immediately. I can apologize to you about the Battle of the Princes, but I can't betray the Ghost Gate. Lin Yu naturally knew the loyalty of this second ghost general. He said helplessly, When did I ask you to betray the Ghost Gate? If the other 6 great Emperor's Gates know that Nu Ba fled in defeat and the Wangliang died, our Ghost Gate, Lin Yu interrupted her. At that time, it will be even harder for the Ghost Gate to establish a foothold in the core star field, right? The world was so big that not only were there big fish eating small fish, but even big fish like the Emperor's Gate had to be wary of each other at all times. Since you know why. Because your life is in my hands. Do you think I care about your feelings? Lin Yu smiled faintly. Mei's face turned pale, and she closed her eyes. If that's the case, kill me now. Oh! Lin Yu pointed his finger. He wanted to scare her, but at the same time, he suddenly felt something sweet in his throat and spat out a mouthful of blood. Just now, he had used He Yu's power, but there was actually such a strong aftereffect. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, but Mei stared at him meaningfully, her eyes flickering. You're injured too? No, I ate too much chicken and got heaty. Lin Yu snorted coldly. In fact, he didn't plan to hide it. However, he knew that Mei already had the intention to kill him. Since Mei was clearly unwilling, Lin Yu also knew that he couldn't force her. However, perhaps giving her some hope could also achieve Lin Yu's goal. Have you thought about it? I agree. As expected, when Lin Yu asked again, Mei agreed without hesitation. However, Lin Yu smiled gently. How could he not see through her thoughts? If that's the case, accompany me to a place first. After saying that, Lin Yu took out the Nirvana Universe staff. Now, he didn't have enough strength to step into the air. Otherwise, if his injuries worsened, he might really be killed by Mei. Mei recognized it at first glance. Although the Nirvana Universe staff had shrunk countless times, it looked exactly the same as the staff that held up the entire Demon Beast Forest. The person in the Demon Cave is indeed you. As Mei thought to herself, the Universe staff had already taken the initiative to move to Lin Yu's feet, and Lin Yu sat comfortably on it. However, when she wanted to climb up, she didn't have the slightest bit of strength. Lin Yu no longer added insult to injury and stretched out his hand. However, Mei was stunned and hesitated for a long time. What's wrong? Lin Yu asked knowingly. He also knew that this woman had never let another man touch her. Especially with her talent, she had already reached the law realm at such a young age. In the Emperor Gate Starfield, it would be difficult to find a man who could make her willing. However, at this moment, Mei could only grit her teeth and stretch out her hand. As soon as she stretched out her hand, it was immediately grabbed by Lin Yu's warm hand, and he pulled her onto the Nirvana Universe staff. The familiar smoothness. Lin Yu thought to himself. However, the staff suddenly shook, and Mei's entire body was powerless. Her entire body pressed down on Lin Yu. You! Mei pushed Lin Yu back with both hands and stared at him resentfully. At this moment, Lin Yu also had an innocent look on his face. Are you too heavy? The staff moved a little, causing the two of them to stick together. This really had nothing to do with him. Of course, Lin Yu's hand moved to the back and gently patted the universe staff, to show his approval. The next moment, the staff flew through the air, causing Mei's body to lean forward again on Lin Yu's body. You! Lin Yu immediately pushed her away. Don't touch me. Mei had an innocent look on her face. She was clearly the one who was taken advantage of, so why was this guy feeling wronged first? However, the Nirvana Universe staff had already left the sea and disappeared into the starry sky. Lin Yu knew that his current condition was not very good, so he did not choose to directly head to the destination through the hidden teleportation array. Where are we going? To the Four Directions Starfield to do the first thing. As he spoke, he made Mei face him. I'll heal you. Before we arrive, you have to use your law once. You're injured yourself. How are you going to heal me? It's very easy for a man and a woman to heal. Hearing this, Mei's expression changed drastically. Chapter 225. You're from the evil path? Only those from the evil path know how to use the matters between men and women to cultivate. Even if I die, I won't agree to it. Don't even think about it. Charm was already gritting her teeth towards Lin Yu. This person is too shameless. But in the next moment, Lin Yu's hands sucked, and Charm's hands were firmly grasped by him. Only your hands are needed. Not even my hands. Charm wanted to resist, but Lin Yu was too lazy to explain. The yin-yang realm aura in his body circulated weakly. In the next moment, Charm gently pressed down. Two auras that were alternating between hot and cold had already merged into her body. No, you don't know my cultivation technique. If you heal me like this, both of us will be injured. As soon as Charm finished speaking, Lin Yu's yin-yang aura cleared every blocked meridian in her body in an orderly manner. Moreover, this aura was extremely unique. It was as if it could naturally heal her injuries. In an instant, Charm only felt her entire body become comfortable. How do you know my cultivation technique's circulation method? Charm was astonished. But at the same time, a surge of power in her body was instinctively absorbed by Lin Yu. Lin Yu naturally wouldn't tell her that during the 100,000 years that he was trapped, he had a deep understanding of her. Don't ask too much. At this moment, he only felt that the parts of his body that were exploded by He Yu's power were gradually recovering. Fusing the yin-yang realm and strengthening each other was the true essence of the yin-yang realm. From the looks of it, it was clear that this kind of cultivation, because Mei's cultivation was much stronger than his, would benefit Lin Yu even more. Time passed, and half a month had passed. Lin Yu's aura had also recovered by 90% during this time. Unfortunately, because his cultivation was too weak, Charm's cultivation had only recovered by less than 10%. The difference between a transcendent realm's aura and a law realm's aura was like heaven and earth. You've always been in the transcendent realm? Charm asked unwillingly. Now that Lin Yu was in the transcendent realm, what was going on with him in the demon cave? Moreover, why was Lin Yu so energetic while she was still weak? Yes and no. Lin Yu replied casually. However, to be precise, his cultivation should be called the yin-yang realm. This was a cultivation method in ancient times. It was the fusion realm of the invincible realm and the transcendent realm. In other words, Lin Yu would no longer have the invincible realm. Seeing that Lin Yu was unwilling to elaborate, Mei was even more confused. She felt that Lin Yu was exactly the same as the young man in the demon cave. However, there was a huge difference between their auras. The aura inside the demon cave was the demonic aura of an ancient great demon. However, the person in front of her was a human who was a little hooligan. We're almost there, Lin Yu said indifferently. However, not long after he finished speaking, he heard a voice transmission from his storage ring. Lin Yu took out a wooden sound transmission token from his storage ring, which was given to him by Li Yi before he left. Sect Master Lin, we have arrived at the Loki sect's area. Everyone is currently safe. This was the first sentence. However, before Lin Yu kept it, the second sentence was transmitted. I heard that there were no more battles in the Monster Beast Forest. Although I wanted to return, the Quasi-Emperor sect, Bodhi sect, held an advancement battle for low-level sects to advance to high-level sections. I have already registered for your Loki sect. This time, the Do sect and the Flying Celestial sect from the Northern Star Field will be competing with the Loki sect. At that time, the Emperor sect and the 9 Luminaries Dragon Sealing City will also participate. With the Loki sect's strength, it is enough to win this advancement battle. Lin Yu remembered that Li Yi had promised him. If he could settle female demons' matter, Li Yi would settle the future of the Loki sect for him. Although this old man is afraid of death, he is still trustworthy. Lin Yu smiled faintly. However, he also knew that Li Yi wanted to leave a good reputation after his death. Lin Yu thought about the time. With Mei around, he could go to the 4-star field to get something. Forget it, I should be in time. But immediately after, Li Yi sent a third sentence. 3 days ago, the 8th Emperor sect appeared in the core area of the star field. Only half of the voice was transmitted, but May was already very interested and immediately came forward to eavesdrop. Clearly, she did not care about high-level sex, but Emperor-level sex had no choice but to care. The 8th Emperor sect is called the Heaven sect, and its sect master is known as Celestial Emperor Xiao. I heard that he came from the 4-star field. Lin Yu was very interested. This pirate of himself had actually established the 8th Emperor sect in such a short time. The condition for a quasi-emperor sect to advance to an emperor sect was to have at least one existence in the 3rd heaven of the law realm in the sect. Only by meeting the condition could one be recognized by the other emperor sects. Then wouldn't Lin Xiao's current combat strength have already reached the 3rd heaven of the law realm? 3rd heaven of the law realm, too fast, too fast! Lin Yu's eyes were filled with excitement, and he could not help but laugh loudly. This is a decent opponent. Lin Xiao's existence gave Lin Yu even greater motivation. Not hearing Lin Xiao's news for a long time almost made Lin Yu feel a little bored. That's it? It was a pity that Lin Yu waited for a long time, but Li Yi did not send over another sentence. Clearly, he did not know much about the Heavenly Emperor sect either. Lin Yu had a sudden impulse, his speed suddenly increasing. Instantly, the universe extinction staff sank into a hidden array formation. When he appeared, he was already in the southern border of the 4-way star field. This is the 4-way star field? Mei surveyed the surrounding starry sky and looked at Lin Yu in surprise. How did you do it just now? After getting along for a period of time, she instinctively became much closer to Lin Yu. After all, when a person was at their weakest, it would be easier to enter their heart if they met someone who helped them. This was a human instinct. But Lin Yu glanced at her straightforwardly. This has nothing to do with you. In front of him was shockingly an incomparably huge tree. The surroundings of this tree were like a vast planet. At this moment, peach blossom petals were dancing all over the sky. It slowly descended. Mei looked at the magnificent scene and could not help but exclaim. Although the glory aura here is much thinner than the Emperor Gate star field, such a magical peach blossom tree actually grew here? It doesn't belong here in the first place, Lin Yu said casually. With one step, he was already close to the Wind Moon tree. The Wind Moon clan had already left and should all be in the low-profile sect now. There was no one in the Wind Moon clan now. In fact, the current southern border star field was much more deserted. The Yao clan, Wind Moon clan, and Sword clan had more or less embarked on the road to the Emperor Gate star field. The remaining ones were merely elderly people who were guarding the place where they were born. Or there were mortals who did not have the ability to cultivate. As for the younger generation like Xia Bing, Sword Maniac, Yuenga, and the like, they still yearned for a new world. Protect me, I want to comprehend something. Chapter 226. Lin Yu said to the charm. Then, he sat down cross-legged in front of the romance tree. The tree was too big. Lin Yu was like an ant in front of a mountain. He was so small that he could barely be seen. The charm looked at him coldly and slowly approached. She wanted to know what Lin Yu was up to. At that moment, Lin Yu was motionless. He closed his eyes and sat cross-legged in front of the romance tree. Then, the charm saw the peach blossoms falling even faster. Countless petals fell from the sky and floated above Lin Yu's head. They did not fall immediately. Is he comprehending a Dao technique? The charm guessed. However, the next moment, she saw a terrifying aura appear on the romance tree. The aura seemed to be repelling Lin Yu and the charm. At that moment, it was above their heads and suddenly suppressed them. Nomological laws, come out, Lin Yu ordered. Although the charm did not like being ordered by men, Lin Yu's words seemed to have an irrefutable certainty. This certainty made the charm grit her teeth, and a nomological law erupted from her body. You'd better not let my injuries recur. The charm's face immediately paled. Even though she had recuperated for more than half a month and recovered a little with the yin-yang realm, He Yu's strength was still too strong. Her injuries were much more serious than she had imagined. Destruction nomological laws. At that moment, a 9-colored stream of light suddenly blasted against the romance tree's suppression. The suppression was about to take away the peach blossom petals above Lin Yu's head, but it was suddenly hit by the nomological laws. In an instant, the suppression dissipated. In that instant, Lin Yu formed hand seals with both hands and transformed into afterimages. Instantly, a blood curse appeared in his hands. What are you? The charm widened her eyes. This thing, it was her ghost sect's supreme mystic art. Why do you know how to cast a blood curse? The charm immediately questioned. However, Lin Yu did not have time to care about her. He raised his hands and fused the blood curse into the romance tree's suppression the instant it retreated. The next moment, the peach blossom that had stopped above Lin Yu's head fell. Lin Yu formed hand seals with both hands again. At the same time, dozens of blood curses appeared in his hands. So fast. Mei jumped in fright. Not only did the young man in front of her know her Hellgate's secret technique, his casting speed was even faster than hers. Mei judged that even Nu Ba might not have such a fast speed. The dozens of blood curses attached themselves to the petals, and in the next moment, Lin Yu was completely surrounded by peach blossoms. Mei narrowed her eyes and retracted her nomological laws. She sat down cross-legged and began to recover from her injuries. However, after trying Lin Yu's yin-yang realm method, she wasn't very satisfied with her current slow speed. If she had Lin Yu to heal her, it would be a very comfortable thing. Damn it, he's my Hellgate's enemy, why would I want to rely on him? Mei immediately cut off her thoughts. But at this moment, 2 auras crashed down. Si Shaoxian, you've been chasing me for 3 days, but this is not your Xian sect's territory. Don't think that I don't dare to kill you. A young girl with a hot figure was standing under the wind moon tree. She was dressed in red, and half of her snow-white shoulder was exposed under the thin veil. She was sexy, but not seductive. She was already so seductive at such a young age. Mei's heart trembled. Although the other party's aura was not as strong as when she was at her peak, she was much stronger than she was now. And Lin Yu was in seclusion. Mei instinctively hid behind Lin Yu's peach blossom storm. Come out quickly, someone's coming. As soon as Mei's voice fell, another voice came from the top of the wind moon tree. It was also a young girl. However, this girl was dressed much more obediently. She wore a long, light blue dress, and her makeup was much more elegant. Yen Xiaoxiao, witch of the demon sect of bliss, how dare you steal from my Xian sect? You won't be able to escape today. Si Shaoxian stared coldly at the girl in red. What a joke! Yen Xiaoxiao smiled disdainfully. You and I are both at 300 Grand Supreme Realm. It's not certain who will win. However, I heard that you've been protected like a pearl in the palm of the Xian sect. You haven't even tasted a man. It's a pity that you're going to die here today. Bah, you perverted witch. If I don't kill you today, I'll be letting down my name, Si Shaoxian. As soon as she finished speaking, Mei saw 2 Grand Supreme Realm auras collide. The shockwaves from the battle caused more peach blossoms to fall. They also indirectly merged into the storm that Lin Yu was in. Damn it, they'll find this place sooner or later. Mei cursed in her heart. If it were before, she would have been able to send those 2 girls flying with a slap. But now, she had to find a way to hide Lin Yu's aura. With a rumble, a girl suddenly fell. It was Si Shaoxian. She had been defeated in one move. Idiot, did you really think that I let you chase me all the way here because I'm afraid of you? Yen Xiaoxiao raised her hands. Dozens of colorful brocades shot out from behind her and suddenly approached Si Shaoxian. 350 Grand Supreme Realm auras gathered on the brocades. You didn't expect this, did you? I have 37 more Grand Supreme Realm auras than you. Yen Xiaoxiao's words were law. The brocades had already appeared within 3 feet of Si Shaoxian. The latter subconsciously retreated and hid behind the peach blossom storm at the same time. Mei gritted her teeth when she saw this. Stop. Why is there someone here? See Xiaoxian's beautiful eyes focused. She did not want to hurt the innocent, so she forcibly circulated her cultivation to block the 350 grand Supreme Realm auras. Rumble. The storm swept over. Si Xiaoxian took a few steps back. There was already blood at the corner of her mouth. On the other side, Yan Xiaoxiao narrowed her eyes slightly. Could it be that you have a helper? Then, her combat strength erupted again. Then I'll take care of them together. The brocades tore through the air and blasted the peach blossom storm. However, at the same time, Mei appeared in front of the storm. How dare you! She clenched her teeth and pointed a finger. In an instant, a terrifying power of law appeared at her fingertip. The law. Yan Xiaoxiao immediately sensed a life-threatening crisis. Her golden body instantly appeared in the air and blocked in front of her. She looked flustered, and her pretty face was much paler. She did not expect to encounter a law realm expert here. Even Si Xiaoxian, who was also beside Mei, was stunned. At that moment, she only felt that all her grand supreme realm auras were suppressed by the law that had yet to fully appear. This was the power of law, which completely surpassed the grand supreme realm auras. However, in the next moment, Mei suddenly spat out a large mouthful of blood. Not only did the power of law not fully attack, but part of it also backfired on her injuries. Oh no! Mei had underestimated her injuries. In addition, she had already used the power of law once before to forcefully repel the wind-moon tree's suppression. Now, her expression immediately became dispirited. So she's injured? Yan Xiaoxiao and Si Xiaoxian thought at the same time. Especially Yan Xiaoxiao, who saw Mei's weakness. At the critical moment, she immediately appeared in front of Mei and struck out with her palm. Chapter 227. With Charm's current combat strength, even Lin Yu wasn't confident of defeating her. How could she be Yan Xiaoxiao's opponent? With a bang, her entire body flew out and crashed into the peach blossom storm. At the same time, the storm dissipated. Lin Yu opened his eyes, and his figure appeared from the peach blossom. He held on to Charm's waist. You're done. Yeah. Lin Yu nodded. A little more. After speaking, Charm felt a warm aura spreading throughout her body from her abdomen. The injuries in her body recovered by 20%. It was more effective than half a month of healing. What's this? Charm asked in surprise. The Tao technique passed down by the Wind-Moon Grand Sage. Lin Yu touched his chin. I call it the Bodhi Heavenly Incantation. Bodhi. Yan Xiaoxiao stared at Lin Yu. You're from the Bodhi sect. Bodhi sect is nothing. Lin Yu smiled faintly and let Charm heal by the side. He took a step forward and appeared between Si Xiaoxian and Yan Xiaoxiao. Girl from the Demon Floating Life sect, you injured my people. Shouldn't you leave something behind? How do you know me? Yan Xiaoxiao smiled in disdain. Leave something behind? Are all the men in the Bodhi sect so arrogant? I've been in the inner region for so many years, and no man has the ability to keep me here. She sensed Lin Yu's aura. He was only in the transcendent realm. But the moment her words fell, her vision became blurry. Lin Yu's figure disappeared in front of her. When he reappeared, he was already on her right. Arrogant? Try taking a punch from me. Lin Yu smiled faintly, and his yin-yang realm aura erupted. When he punched, Yan Xiaoxiao's expression changed drastically. A golden body that was identical to her blocked in front of her. At the same time, Lin Yu's Buddha body soared into the sky. He gathered the 6 suns and transcended the 3 elements in one realm. When he punched, the starry sky in front of the wind-moon tree distorted. Boom! Cracking sounds could be heard as the space shattered. Yan Xiaoxiao clenched her teeth tightly. She never thought that she, a grand exalt realm, would actually be able to block the punch of a transcendent realm 6 suns realm expert. It was actually so strenuous. She panted heavily, and the golden body behind her became unstable. Now, are you overestimating yourself, or am I? Lin Yu stood with his hands behind his back, but Yan Xiaoxiao's gaze was fixed on his golden body. There were a total of 3 grand supreme stage auras converging on the golden figure, but these auras did not seem to come from Lin Yu. This is a borrowed golden body. Yan Xiaoxiao was obviously unwilling to give up. However, Lin Yu had no reason to hide it. I did borrow it, but it's enough to beat you up. Lin Yu could now fully unleash the golden body of the 3 sovereigns' great Das. You think a transcendent realm expert can defeat me with just a borrowed golden body? Yan Xiaoxiao was not angry. Instead, she found it interesting. What's your name? Lin Yu smiled faintly. He understood this demoness of the demon floating life sect. This woman liked to be taught a lesson. She was amenable to force, but not persuasion. Hence, Lin Yu used force from the start. My name. Lin Yu touched his chin. I'll go to the demon floating life sect to find trouble with you in the future. You'll know by then. All right. Yan Xiaoxiao's beautiful eyes seemed to be able to speak. They immediately curved into a crescent shape. Then, remember to come. After speaking, she glanced at Si Xiaoxian, who was beside Lin Yu. You lost today. Don't provoke me again. Otherwise I'll… She sized up Si Xiaoxian. Forget it. You're not fun at all. Yan Xiaoxiao's gaze still fell on Lin Yu. You're more fun. Lin Yu shrugged helplessly. It seemed that he didn't need to deliberately look for the women who were trapped for 100,000 years. They would appear in front of him one by one. He couldn't hide. Lin Yu felt a little sad in his heart. Sometimes, knowing too many women was also a very troublesome thing. Yan Xiaoxiao stepped into the air and left. Peace seemed to be restored in front of the romance tree. Lin Yu turned to look at Si Xiaoxian. Why? You're not leaving? I'll leave later. Si Xiaoxian looked at the direction where Yan Xiaoxiao left. Are you afraid that she will turn back and ambush you? Lin Yu sized up Si Xiaoxian. It seems that you're injured. I have to be careful of the demon floating life sex demoness. Si Xiaoxian looked at Lin Yu warily. Your eyesight and battle strength are top-notch, but I've never heard of someone like you in the Bodhi sect. Instead, I've heard of that second-generation Zhang Lingyi more often. The Bodhi sect was the one that Li Yi had mentioned in his voice transmission. It was a quasi-emperor sect from the inner domain that presided over the promotion of low-level sects to high-level sects this time. When Si Xiaoxian and Yan Xiaoxiao heard that Lin Yu had comprehended the Bodhi heavenly incantation, they subconsciously thought that Lin Yu was from the Bodhi sect. The Bodhi sect may not accept me. Lin Yu raised his hands. He had also entered the Bodhi sect to play and knew many of its secrets. He could tell that most of them were things that didn't see the light of day. I may not accept it either. What do you mean? Si Xiaoxian narrowed her eyes. You're not from the Bodhi sect, but you're definitely not from the demon cult of bliss or my Xian sect. Then could it be that you're from the core? Si Xiaoxian immediately cupped her fists. Xian sect Si Xiaoxian greets the core senior. Lin Yu's face twitched. Girl, your imagination is too rich. I'm not from the core, but… He glanced at Mei again. This guy was from the core. Sigh, it's hard to explain. Lin Yu shook his head helplessly. Yan Xiaoxiao is not the kind of person you imagine. Don't worry and leave. Why do you seem to know her so well? Si Xiaoxian looked at Lin Yu suspiciously. Forget it. None of you men can resist Yan Xiaoxiao's coquettishness. She's really not the kind of person you imagine. Lin Yu couldn't be bothered to explain further for Yan Xiaoxiao. If he told Si Xiaoxian that Yan Xiaoxiao was still a virgin, wouldn't he have to explain for a long time? Men are all like this. I've heard father say this before, but you've helped me today. If you have any trouble in the future, come to the Xian sect to find me. Si Xiaoxian cupped her fists and smiled. Si Xiaoxian will always return the favor. Goodbye. She thought that if she didn't leave now, Wouldn't people think that she was even more afraid of Yan Xiaoxiao? After Si Xiaoxian left, Lin Yu touched his forehead. They're finally gone. Did you let them go on purpose? Mei had already recovered her strength. But she was alone at the side just now, thinking about whether she could take down Lin Yu now that she had recovered from her injuries. This was the reason why she agreed to come with Lin Yu. However, Mei was still asking herself why she had forcefully saved Lin Yu and got injured. Was it because she was worried that she would be affected after Lin Yu was seriously injured by Yan Xiaoxiao? Or was she just trying to protect him? Chapter 228. Impossible. Charm immediately cut off this thought. Lin Yu was Hellgate's enemy. What are you thinking about? Lin Yu's voice rang out, breaking Charm's train of thought. Nothing. She turned her face away, afraid that Lin Yu would notice something. You've already done the first thing. As for the second thing, Lin Yu thought about it. It was really difficult for this woman to betray Hellgate. In his memory, even when he was trapped for 100,000 years, after he had tricked her into bed and had his fun, he had tried to get her to betray Hellgate. At that time, Lin Yu only thought that it was fun, but it always ended in failure. We'll talk about the second thing if we're fated. You can leave now. Lin Yu suddenly sent Charm away. This action made Charm not know how to react for a moment. You're letting me go just like that? Yes, you're no longer of any use. Lin Yu spoke again. Although his tone was very cold and realistic, it did make Charm feel a trace of warmth. After all, Lin Yu was a man of his word. This kind of character still made Mei sincerely admire him. In this world of constant fighting, it was impossible to capture a law realm expert without getting some substantial benefit. However, Lin Yu really only asked her to do a small favor. Then I'll take my leave. Charm took a deep breath and sized up Lin Yu. She originally wanted to test her current strength and see if she could take down Lin Yu. However, after seeing Lin Yu's combat strength against Yan Xiaoxiao, Charm immediately gave up on this idea. She would need at least another month of recuperation before she could recover 30% of her power. At that time, she would have the confidence to take down Lin Yu. Lin Yu casually grunted and ignored her. However, Charm was a little embarrassed. She turned around and took a few steps. Her eyes flashed, and she immediately exclaimed. Then, Lin Yu saw Charm faint. What the hell? Lin Yu's face was filled with black lines, but Mei's eyes were closed, allowing herself to fall in front of the romance tree. I can only use this method to stay for another month. As long as I stay for another month, I will be able to avenge Wang Liang. Mei clenched her fists tightly. But even after a long time, Lin Yu did not appear. Then, with a loud bang, she crashed into the ground, creating a small crater. It hurts. Mei touched her butt and looked up, wondering where Lin Yu had gone. It was impossible for him not to notice that she had fainted. What is he doing? Soon, Mei saw Lin Yu holding the Annihilation Universe staff and muttering to himself in front of the giant romance tree. He would rather talk to a tree. Wasn't he a pervert? Why is there no reaction now? But in the next moment, Mei's eyes widened as the ground beneath her began to quake. In front of Lin Yu, the wind moon tree shrank at a discernible rate. Flower petals, branches, it continued to merge into the annihilating heaven and earth staff. In just a short while, the entire romance tree had vanished without a trace. Only then did Lin Yu land. He seemed to be observing the huge crater where the romance tree had disappeared. Then, Lin Yu nodded. I've dug it clean. Time to call it a day. Wait. Mei saw that Lin Yu was about to leave and immediately called out to him. But Lin Yu ignored her and stepped into the air to leave. Be *****. Mei cursed. She had never met such a straightforward man in her life. She gritted her teeth and disappeared. When she reappeared, she was already beside Lin Yu. You can't see me, can you? Cough. Before Mei could finish, her injuries flared up again, and she almost coughed up blood. She had used her movement technique in exasperation just now. Clearly, Lin Yu had angered her to the point that she was angry. Yes, I can see you. Lin Yu did not stop. Little Mei, I just don't want to give you a chance to seek revenge. What, Little Mei? That sounds awful. Mei did not expect Lin Yu to see through her with his first sentence. But she still forced herself to ask, Are you afraid? Lin Yu nodded. I'm afraid that I'll accidentally kill you. How arrogant. She was furious, but there was nothing she could do to Lin Yu. She was a woman. If she continued to follow him, she would have no respect at all. But Lin Yu took out the Nirvana Universe staff. Forget it. Since you don't want to leave, come on up. He beckoned to Mei. She was stunned. The plot had changed too quickly. She gritted her teeth. She knew that if she did not give in this time and left, with Lin Yu's ability to appear in the four-way galaxy in an instant, she might not be able to find him again in this lifetime. At that thought, Mei stepped on him with a red face. So where are we going next? Mei immediately changed the topic. But Lin Yu still felt that he should try peaceful means before resorting to force. If you decide to follow me, you have to listen to me all the way. Do you understand, Little Mei? His commanding tone made Mei grit her teeth again. She had never suffered such a grievance in her life. But she knew that she could not leave. I understand. Finally, she nodded. Lin Yu smiled in satisfaction and answered her first question. We're going to the Realm Gate. My sect wants to be promoted to a high-level sect. The promotion battle will be held there. You're from a low-level sect. Mei looked at him in surprise. With your abilities, you definitely don't look like one. This was her heartfelt words. Lin Yu was able to deal with her, Yen Xiaoxiao and Si Xiaoxian, who were from Boundary Emperor-level sects, with ease. At first, Mei thought that he was someone carefully nurtured by an Emperor sect. The Nirvana Universe staff sank into the array. When Lin Yu and Mei opened their eyes again, they were already in front of the Realm Gate. This was the second time Mei had seen such an ability to teleport. Especially the distance between the Realm Gate and the Four Directions Star Domain. Even if she was at her peak, she would need some time to reach it. However, Lin Yu had not entered the array and only used the blink of an eye to get out. How did you do it? Mei asked in a daze. However, Lin Yu clearly had no intention of answering her. Instead, he stepped down from the sky. After putting away the extinguishing heaven and earth staff, the two of them were now standing before a huge door. This gate stood tall in the starry sky. This was also the inner edge of the outer region. If they entered further, which was the other end of the gate, they would arrive at the inner region's Boundary Emperor-level sections. At this moment, Lin Yu and Mei entered quietly. They did not attract anyone's attention and entered the crowd. There were too many people here today. In front of the Realm Gate was a huge open space. On both sides of the open space was a huge pair of hands that were spread open. From afar, these hands seemed to be supporting the entire boundless Realm Gate. I heard that the Boundary Emperor-level Bodhi sect has personally come to confer titles this time. Yes, ever since the Raging Fire Temple declined, one of the four high-level sects has disappeared. There should be a new sect. A total of 3 sects have signed up this time. I think the most promising one is the Loki sect. As soon as that person finished speaking, a middle-aged man immediately appeared in the crowd and blocked his way. Chapter 229. The man looked ferocious as he slapped the person who was optimistic about Loki's sect in the face. The powerful palm force whizzed past. How could that person withstand it? He flew backward and spat out a mouthful of blood. Lung Shan. That person stammered. When he saw the middle-aged man's appearance, he was immediately shocked and knelt down. I was wrong. He kept begging for mercy. The middle-aged man looked down at him coldly. The one who will advance this time is my flying celestial sect. Remember that. Yes. That person shrank back and immediately ran away. The surrounding people didn't dare to say another word. Brotherling, there's no need to be angry. These blind people just heard a few words about Loki's sect and deified it. They said that it was the peak when it was established, and that it was unstoppable when it destroyed the high-level raging fire temple. Behind Ling Shan, a short man chuckled. I heard that raging fire temple suffered heavy casualties in the prince's battle, which gave Loki's sect a chance. Sigh. If Brother Ling hadn't gone into seclusion to cultivate some time ago and we didn't go to the prince's battle, Brother Ling would have been the prince this time. What Loki sect? What Lin Yu? How could they have a chance to be in the limelight? Ling Shan smiled faintly. Junior brother Kueisho, you flatter me. However, we are determined to win this time. We will not allow anyone to mislead us and destroy our flying celestial sect's morale. He looked around warningly. No one dared to meet his gaze. The Loki sect he mentioned, is it your sect? In a remote corner, Charm whispered into Lin Yu's ear. The latter nodded. Then why don't you teach him a lesson? None of these people are your match. Charm said tentatively. You want me to attack so that you can study my weakness? Lin Yu glanced at her. Don't try to do that in front of me. You're not qualified. His tone was calm, but Charm sensed a coldness in it. She was a few years older than Lin Yu, but in terms of scheming, she felt that she was far inferior to him. However, in the next moment, she heard many strange voices. Place your bets. Place your bets. I bet 10,000 on Dozong. You poor bastard. I bet 100,000 that the Flying Celestial sect will win. Lin Yu's interest was suddenly piqued. He pulled Mei and squeezed in. In front of them was a rather large gambling house. Inside, there was an endless stream of people. Lin Yu even saw the cold mountain from before. I'll buy it for 10 million. Ling Shan placed his hand on the table with the words, Flying Immortal Sect, written on it. What are you betting on? Lin Yu came in. Are you blind? Can't you read the words on it? Someone at the side immediately mocked. The boss of the gambling house smiled. He could tell that the charm beside Lin Yu was extremely beautiful. In this world, to be able to obtain such a beauty, or to be able to keep such a beauty, it could only mean that this young man in front of him was also extraordinary. Haha, young master, this is a bet on who will emerge victorious in this advancement battle. What do you mean by winning? Lin Yu frowned. Seeing this, Ling Shan said angrily, Are you an idiot? Can I just ask? Lin Yu felt a little wronged. He glanced at Mei and said, Why are these people so fierce? Then kill them all. Let's do it. Mei immediately egged him on. Yo, little girl, you're quite arrogant. Kueisho heard Mei's words and was about to teach her a lesson. However, Ling Shan stopped him. Wait. I didn't expect there to be such a beautiful girl in the Outlands other than Qingqing and Tang Xian. Who are you Outlands people? Mei said angrily. But in the eyes of these people, how could they still listen to her words? All the men's gazes were sizing up her hot body and fair complexion. How dare you? She clenched her fists. Little Mei, shall we kill them all? Lin Yu's interest was piqued as well, and he instigated. Mei immediately suppressed her anger. No, I'll endure it. However, she really couldn't endure it and came up with an idea. In the next moment, her curvy body pressed against Lin Yu. Her little mouth was close to Lin Yu, and she said in a coquettish voice, Hubby, they're bullying me. When this scene fell into the eyes of others, many men with weak willpower immediately raised their heads secretly. If it were an ordinary man, he would probably be numb and at the mercy of this woman. Fortunately, Lin Yu only felt extremely embarrassed. Was this woman putting him on the stage? Bully you? Looks like someone wants to be bullied? Your hubby is a wimp. He doesn't have the guts to offend us. Kueisho and Ling Shan said one after another. Mei saw Lin Yu's expression and only felt happy. She only needed to stay by Lin Yu's side, and everyone's spearhead was pointed at her at this moment. Is this the benefit of being a little girl? Mei whispered softly in Lin Yu's ear. This scene once again caused an uproar in the crowd. Upon seeing this, Lin Yu rubbed his eyebrows and glanced at Kuei Shou and Ling Shan. Alright, if you want to fight, then come at me. Kid, you're quite arrogant. Kuei Shou rolled up his sleeves and instantly punched towards Lin Yu's position. His aura was also transcendent, but he was at the Nine Suns transcendent realm. Therefore, Kuei Shou believed that Lin Yu wasn't his opponent. However, Lin Yu didn't even move, allowing Kuei Shou's fist to come at him. Before the fist force could even get within 3 feet of Lin Yu and Mei, a wall of air rose from the ground and blocked the fist force directly. With a bang, the fist blasted onto the air wall. Die for me. Kuei Shou thought that he could crush Lin Yu, and his Nine Suns transcendent realm aura erupted. However, in the next moment, he was shocked to find that Lin Yu was still as calm as ever. Immediately after, his Yang aura was instantly suppressed by Lin Yu's Yin and Yang aura. What? Kuei Shou sensed that something was amiss. His opponent wasn't as simple as he thought. He wanted to withdraw his hand, but on the air wall, a black flame instantly spread to his right arm. Since you made a move, you have to pay the price. Lin Yu's cold voice sounded. In the next moment, Kuei Shou felt a sharp pain in his head. His actions were too late. In that short moment, the true sun fire had already started burning. Kuei Shou immediately clenched his second fist. However, in the next moment, a cold aura suddenly invaded the air wall again. His other arm turned into an ice sculpture in an instant. No, I was wrong. Under the Yin and Yang Great Tao, both of Kuei Shou's arms broke at the same time. Blood splattered everywhere. The entire place was silent. Only Kuei Shou's cries of pain could be heard. Just by relying on the Glory Chi wall, he didn't even move. This kid is so powerful. Everyone started to take Lin Yu seriously. Senior brother, you have to avenge senior brother Kuei. Damn it, how dare you touch someone from the Flying Celestial sect? Ling Shan took a step forward. In fact, he was already frightened by Lin Yu's move. However, he was the leader of this group. Since Kuei Shou's arms were broken by Lin Yu, he naturally had to bite the bullet. Immediately, cold aura spread out from Ling Shan's arms. Both his arms immediately turned into ice. He was about to attack Lin Yu. Chapter 230. Gentlemen, gambling houses are places to make money. Why don't you give me, Su Hongi, some face and let's call it quits? The owner of the gambling house was a graceful young woman. At this moment, she was smiling at Ling Shan in a seductive manner. Her intention was clear. By holding Ling Shan down, she was preventing the next step of destruction. Fine. Ling Shan put down his hand without hesitation. Take this useless thing back. He yelled at the Flying Celestial sect's followers behind him. They immediately stepped forward and carried Kuei Shou out of the gambling house. He should be back to the Flying Celestial sect for treatment. Kid, you're lucky today. Boss Su is here to mediate. I won't argue with you. Ling Shan snorted. Everyone laughed inwardly after hearing that. Everyone could see that he was pleased. Otherwise, how could Ling Shan let Lin Yu go so easily? Of course, not only did Su Hongi see through it, but she also gave Ling Shan a way out. Since I've disturbed Boss Su's business, I'll bet another 90 million. The Flying Celestial sect wins. With that, he swiped his storage ring again. A 7-colored ray of light shot into the stone table with the words, Flying Celestial sect, written on it. A display immediately appeared on the stone table. Flying Celestial sect, Ling Shan, bet 100 million glory bot on the Flying Celestial sect. Ling Shan smiled faintly. This was his way of repaying Su Hongi for helping him. However, he didn't think he would lose the bet. The Flying Celestial sect is indeed wealthy. Ling Shan is the son of the Flying Celestial sect's Grand Elder. He must have countless resources. This is nothing to him. Hearing the flattery around him, Ling Shan felt that he had saved some face. He smiled and still wouldn't let Lin Yu go. It's your turn. Don't tell me you don't have money in the gambling house? May giggled and glanced at Lin Yu. My husband is the richest man in the outer realm. How could he not have some glory bot? The crowd immediately booed when they heard that. She's bragging too much, isn't she? I've seen her husband sweet-talk this beauty all the time. I can't believe she actually believed it. That's why it's better for men to know how to sweet-talk. When Lin Yu heard this, he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. You're too immersed in your role. Isn't this to give you face? Mei looked at Lin Yu with a teasing smile, but she was actually complaining in her heart. Kuei Shou didn't even have the strength to force Lin Yu to make a move. Just now, she couldn't see through Lin Yu's flaws at all, because he hadn't done anything at all. Kid, I'm talking to you. When Ling Shan saw that Lin Yu was ignoring him, he could not help but feel angry. But when Lin Yu glanced over, his hair instantly stood on end. This kid was younger than him, but how could his gaze be so terrifying? In the next moment, Lin Yu smiled faintly and walked to the betting table. Then I'll play too. He glanced at the odd. No matter who wins, the odds are 1-to-1. Lin Yu's lips curled up, and his gaze fell on Su Hongyi. Boss Nan Ru really knows how to do business. No matter which sect wins, you won't lose money. What Nan Ru? Are you mistaken? That's Boss Su. Ling Shan kept finding fault with Lin Yu, but only Su Hongyi's heart tightened at this moment. Nan Ru. She hadn't heard of this surname in a long time. She looked at Lin Yu with a serious expression. My surname is Su. Young master. If there's anything else, can we talk about it in private? Lin Yu understood what she meant and shrugged. All right. How many bets are there on your table? Su Hongyi was stunned. About 300 million. Then let's bet 3 billion. Lin Yu smiled faintly. When his voice fell, it immediately caused an uproar. 3 billion, is he crazy? Is it really like what his woman said, that this kid is the richest person in the outer region? I think he's young and impetuous. He's probably bragging without thinking. Even Ling Shan and Su Hongyi were shocked. But just as Ling Shan was about to mock Lin Yu for bragging, he saw a stream of light flash from his storage ring. At the same time, he wrote down his name. Lin Yu, low-profile sect, 3 billion. It's really 3 billion, Lin Yu, he's Lin Yu. This name immediately caused an uproar in the gambling house again. The most famous thing in the outer region was the destruction of the Raging Fire Temple by the newly established low-profile sect. And the most famous person in this matter was naturally Lin Yu, who was known for his low profile. So it's Sect Master Lin's Holy Chariot Gambling House. Su Hongyi didn't welcome you. Su Hongyi immediately stepped forward and bowed. However, the people from the Flying Celestial sect were even more dumbfounded. They had been suppressing those who supported the low-profile sect and the fighting sect. Who would have thought that they would meet the leader of the low-profile sect here? It's fine. But Mr. Su, you can accept the bet of 3 billion. Lin Yu smiled faintly and turned to leave. Charm also followed him. Only Su Hongyi was left behind, stunned on the spot. She suddenly realized that Lin Yu's reminder was hinting that she shouldn't smooth things over for the Flying Celestial sect. If Lin Yu won, wouldn't she have to pay him 3 billion? This was Lin Yu's punishment for her. However, Lin Yu dared to pay 3 billion as a punishment. This courage was enough to shock Su Hongyi. He can't win. Su Hongyi clenched her teeth and looked at Lin Yu's back as he left. This young man is too domineering. Mr. Su, don't worry. The low-profile sect can't win. The Flying Celestial sect has 3 elders. Ling Shan continued. I need some peace and quiet. Su Hongyi interrupted him. Compared to Lin Yu, this person's courage was too weak. She could not help but worry. How could such a person compare to the low-profile sect? As Lin Yu left, many people also headed in the same direction. However, even if the two of them were recognized, they immediately disappeared into the sea of people. What disappeared with them was the commotion caused by Lin Yu and Charm. Is the advancement battle about to begin? Lin Yu held Charm's hand as they followed beside him. Although she was a little shy, she seemed to have let go of her grudge against Lin Yu because of the act earlier. She asked again. Lin Yu looked up. Charm followed his gaze and saw the world-crossing gate creaking. A crack appeared in the huge gate from the middle. But even if it was just a small crack, at a close distance, it could accommodate the entire Jixia Book Pavilion Island. At this moment, a black dot was gradually approaching through the crack. The people from the Quasi-Emperor sects are here. Quick, let's go take a look. I'd like to see how they're different from us. Why can they live in the inner zone, while we can only live in the outer zone? Lin Yu entered the crowd as well. Along the way, he saw many low-level sections. They were clearly here to join in the fun. The most important ones were the low-profile sect, the fighting sect, and the flying celestial sect. Chapter 231. At this moment, everyone was gathered in front of the crossing gate, which was at least 1,000 feet wide. Soon, powerful auras appeared one after another in 3 different directions of the open space. The first aura belonged to Do Zong's group that Lin Yu was familiar with. In addition to Ho Ji, the fat boy, and Qing Chao Lu, there were many other faces who participated in the Battle of the Princes. But judging from their positions, these people were not here to fight. In front of them, there was an old man with sharp eyes and sharp eyebrows, who was staring in the direction of the crossing gate. The black spots on it were getting bigger and bigger. Ling Shan and Kuei Shou were also in front of the Do Zone group. There were also 3 old men in front of them. However, these 3 people were like Ling Shan. Even though they were old, their faces did not give off the slightest feeling of kindness. The 3 of them were staring fiercely in one direction. It was the direction of Lin Yu's sect, the Loki sect. At this moment, Yang Kai and Qin Wunyan were at the head of the group. On both sides were Qin Ji and Dongwang Feiyu. Xiang Gu was also standing next to Dongwang Feiyu, listening to her obediently. Master, is this Bodhi sect the one that demoted Han Yu Palace to a low-level sect? Xiang Gu asked Dongwang Feiyu sadly. At that time, my cultivation had dropped by 300 Dao rays, but Dongwang Feiyu hesitated for a moment. I have never shown my cultivation to the outside world, and I have always wondered how the Bodhi sect knew about it. Maybe a quasi-emperor sect has placed many spies in the outer territory. Unfortunately, Han Yu Palace will be a low-level sect for a long time. Xiang Gu understood what she meant. Master is magnanimous and does not want to compete with our Loki sect this time. Dongwang Feiyu glanced at her. Don't talk nonsense. You and I are both elders of the Loki sect. If the Loki sect can be promoted to a high-level sect, it will break the record of the fastest sect to become a high-level sect from a low-level sect in the outer territory. For you and me, it will be a glorious thing. After Dongwang Feiyu finished speaking, Xiang Gu grinned. I think Master is very optimistic about Sect Master, right? Not only do I think highly of him, I believe that he can bring glory to Loki sect. Dongwang Feiyu said helplessly, You know, although the sect is called the Loki sect, he is not Loki at all. Xiang Gu thought of Lin Yu. That bad guy. Wherever he goes, there's light everywhere. It would be strange if he kept a low profile. Their voices were not loud, and not many people could hear them. As for Lin Yu, his complexion was not good right now. This was because this woman, Mei, had been nagging beside him. In particular, Lin Yu suddenly remembered that she could read lips, so he asked her about it. Since then, she had been repeating the conversation between Yao Gu and Dongwang Feiyu to him. Actually, I understand. You don't have to keep telling me. Lin Yu covered her mouth with one hand. Little Mimi, if you keep talking nonsense like this, I'll kill you. Do you understand? He warned Charm, but the latter only felt that it would be too awkward if she didn't do anything while following Lin Yu. In order to alleviate this awkwardness, She had been looking for topics to chat with Lin Yu. But she didn't expect that now she would be caught in Lin Yu's arms, and unable to move. Let go, cover, let go. Only then did Lin Yu let go of his hand. How could he not know the nature of this woman? She was in a high position in the ghost sect, but she had been restrained for too long. Once she met someone she could chat with, she would keep bothering them. She looked cold, but in fact she was very talkative. This was also the reason why Lin Yu wanted to leave her behind as soon as he got the romance tree. But later, when he saw that Charm pretended to faint and followed him, his heart softened. Sure enough, men can't be soft-hearted. Lin Yu thought to himself, but Charm continued, "Did you do something bad to Xiangge? Why does she seem to like you very much?" "Shut up." Lin Yu looked up at the sky. There, Li Yi, Xiao Imo, and Shin Sui of the Emperor sect were all standing in the air. This time, everyone saw the black dot clearly. It was a bird that looked like a red-crowned crane. Its wings were wide open, and as it flapped, it gradually appeared in the air above everyone. "Welcome, Bodhi sect." Xiao Imo and the other two bowed at the same time. On the red-crowned crane, there was a woman and a man. There was no one else. The man was in his early 20s, and his aura was very strong. He had already reached 700 Dao paths of the Grand Supreme stage. The woman was a middle-aged woman who looked like a young woman. She looked dignified, but there was a domineering and cold air between her brows. "So, Madame Bodhi is here this time." Li Yi smiled faintly and bowed again. He glanced at the man in his 20s and immediately smiled. This must be the most outstanding young master in the inner region, young master Zhang Lingyi. Zhang Lingyi smiled disdainfully. This young master usually doesn't walk around in this remote and desolate place. Someone from the outer region actually knows me? Li Yi was also used to being looked down upon. There was no trace of dissatisfaction on his old face. Xiao Imo and Shin Sui, on the other hand, didn't look too happy. Clearly, Li Yi was more tactful when it came to these matters. "Young Master Zhang, you have an imposing appearance and a powerful cultivation. This old man really can't think of anyone in the inner region other than the only son of the Bodhi sect's sect master, young Master Zhang Lingyi, who has such strong talent and temperament." Li Yi continued to flatter Zhang Lingyi. After Zhang Lingyi heard this, he could only smile. It was obvious that he was still too young and inexperienced for an expert of this level. "Is everyone here?" Madame Bodhi ignored Li Yi's nonsense. The latter immediately nodded. "Madame Bodhi, everyone is here. There are a total of 3 sects participating in the advancement competition. They are the Flying Celestial sect, the Do sect, and the Subtle sect." "Then let's begin." Madame Bodhi's gaze swept across the crowd and landed on the 3 sections. Especially Zhang Lingyi, who stared in the direction of the Subtle sect and asked Li Yi, "Is there someone called Lin Yu here?" Li Yi was stunned. What was going on? Even the Bodhi sect knew about Sect Master Lin? Indeed, but young Master, Sect Master Lin isn't here right now. Perhaps he will appear later. Sect Master Lin? Zhang Lingyi's face was full of sarcasm. Someone from a third-rate sect has the nerve to call himself Sect Master? Below, Charm immediately repeated his words. "That kid said you're from a third-rate sect. Do you want to kill him?" Lin Yu only felt black lines on his forehead. "You don't need to repeat." However, he smiled helplessly in his heart. He didn't know how he had offended this rich second generation. Although this Zhang Lingyi wasn't much, he was the only son of the Bodhi sect's sect master. Especially his mother, Madame Bodhi, who was famous for being protective. A very troublesome woman. In the sky, Madame Bodhi glanced at Zhang Lingyi. "Say no more." She looked at Li Yi. "Let's begin." Chapter 232. All right. Li Yi took a few steps back, feeling uneasy. It seemed like it wasn't a good thing for Zhang Lingyi to ask about Lin Yu's name. "Wait, mother." Zhang Lingyi interrupted Li Yi and stepped forward, That's the dragon sealing city of the 9 luminaries, right? Yes, young Master Zhang. Li Yi nodded. Zhang Lingyi moved and instantly appeared in front of Xiao Mo and the others. Who's the one in charge? His voice spread out. His every move attracted everyone's attention. After all, these people from the outer region were eager to join a quasi-emperor sect. Yes, it's me. Xiao Mo's heart tightened as he bowed. Young Master Zhang, please speak your mind. He could see that Zhang Lingyi could interrupt Madame Beauty. Obviously, this mother doted on her son. Offending Zhang Lingyi meant offending Madame Beauty. Xiao Mo couldn't afford it. You're Xiao Mo? Zhang Lingyi smiled. You're in luck. The Xian sect has promised Tang Xian to be my fiancé. Then, from today onwards, you'll be the #1 sect in the outer region. His casual words caused everyone to burst into an uproar. Tang Xian, is that the emperor this year? One of the 3 disciples of Emperor Li Yi, the #1 of the younger generation in the dragon sealing city of the 9 luminaries. Xiao Mo thought that Zhang Lingyi would say something like Lin Yu's name, and that he had offended Zhang Lingyi somehow. But now, it seemed like it was a good thing. Tang Xian, it's Tang Xian's fortune to be favored by young Master Zhang. Xiao Mo said with a smile. What made him especially happy was Zhang Lingyi's next sentence. The dragon sealing city of the 9 luminaries would be the #1 sect in the outer region. Young Master Zhang is powerful. Of course, you can make the dragon sealing city of the 9 luminaries the #1 sect in the outer region. Xiao Mo lowered his head and reminded. That's right, Tang Xian's sect. If I want you to be the #1 sect, you'll be the #1 sect. I'll do it. Zhang Lingyi turned to Madame Beauty and said, Mother, am I right? When this scene fell into Li Yi and Shen Suyi's ears, it was extremely ear-piercing. They had been fighting back and forth for so many years. How could a single sentence from this Zhang Lingyi decide their ranking? Moreover, with the 9 luminaries dragon sealing city's current strength, it wouldn't be his turn to compete for the #1 sect, right? My son has the potential to be a great emperor. You can say whatever you want. Madame Bodhi smiled dotingly and said, From today onwards, everything in the outer realm will be led by the 9 luminaries dragon sealing city. However, Xiao Mo was the only one thanking her. The rest of the people were stunned, especially Shen Suyi and Li Yi. They lowered their heads and deliberately did not want to answer. Madame Beauty sneered. She had also sensed that these people were unconvinced. Didn't you hear what I said? In an instant, a law erupted from her body. It was as if a huge hand had suddenly appeared in the sky and pressed down. The people below all felt their breathing become much heavier. However, the ones who were affected the most were Li Yi and Shen Suyi, who were closest to him. The 2 men felt a sharp pain in their feet. Damn it! Even though Li Yi was old and no longer had the backbone of his youth, he could not help but curse at this moment. How could he not know what Madame Beauty meant? At this moment, the bones in his 2 legs creaked. Li Yi gritted his teeth, but in the end, he could not bear it and knelt down. On the other side, Shen Suyi also knelt down. Do you understand? Madame Beauty said indifferently, her voice cold. At this moment, everyone understood the gap between the laws and the Grand Supreme. Li Yi and Shen Suyi were top figures in the outer realm, but when they encountered a law realm cultivator, they also knelt down with a single sentence. Understood, my Jixia book pavilion understands, Li Yi said in a low voice. On the other side, Shen Suyi's face was also gloomy. My emperor's sect also understands. Understand? What do you understand? Zhang Lingyi smiled disdainfully again, and walked in front of the 2. He pointed at Li Ye's head and said, My Jixia book pavilion, from today onwards, will be led by the 9 luminaries dragon sealing city. Li Yi gritted his teeth, the old hands in his sleeves clenched tightly. His nails dug into his flesh, and blood seeped out. My emperor's sect, from today onwards, will also be led by the 9 luminaries dragon sealing city. Shun Suyi was in the same situation. Very good. Zhang Lingyi nodded with a smile and looked at Xiao Imo. This is my betrothal gift to Tang Xan. What do you think? This is, of course, the best betrothal gift. Xiao Imo was surprised and happy at this moment. He originally came to join in the fun today to watch the 3 low-level sects compete, but how did it become a salted fish that made a comeback? That's good. Zhang Lingyi smiled faintly and whispered into Xiao Mo's ear. I heard that before Tang Xian went to the Xian sect, she had a very good relationship with someone called Lin Yu. Where is he? Zhang Lingyi felt that Li Yi was lying to him. No matter what, he came to this low-level starfield today to kill Lin Yu. As for the matter of the 9 luminaries dragon sealing city, it was just to make Tang Xian laugh. This old man really doesn't know where Lin Yu is. Xiao Imo was old and cunning. He also whispered to Zhang Lingyi, Young Master Zhang, don't worry. Tang Xian and Lin Yu have nothing to do with each other. She can obtain young master's favor, and will definitely serve young master wholeheartedly. Xiao Imo couldn't care less about whether Tang Xian liked him or not. In the current situation, he was in a situation where those who complied would prosper, and those who disobeyed would die. But Zhang Lingyi didn't buy it. Once there's news about Lin Yu, immediately inform me. If you can't catch him, kill him directly. Xiao Imo heard and felt a chill down his spine. Yes. Let's begin. Zhang Lingyi didn't say anything else. Seeing this, Li Yi took a few steps forward. In today's rank advancement competition, those who have more than 300 Dao of Grand Supremes will win. First place will be a high-level sect. Then, he said, each sect will send 3 people to start today's rank advancement competition. In an instant, 3 auras from Do Zong and Flying Celestial sect stepped out, and from Low Profile sect, 3 figures also walked out. Qin Wunyan, Yang Kai, and Dong Wang Feiyu. The 3 of them were currently the strongest forces of Low Profile sect. Your people seem to be the strongest. Mei immediately made a judgment. In the sky, a chaotic battle immediately began. If this continues, your low-profile sect has the highest chance of winning. Lin Yu glanced at him. Do you know anything about quasi-emperor level sects? The corner of Mei's mouth curled up, as if he had instantly regained his arrogant identity as one of the 4 ghost generals. I'm from the core. Who has time to care about those low-level sects? Lin Yu smiled helplessly. This was a case of the big fish eating the small fish, and the small fish eating the shrimp. In the eyes of emperor-level sects, quasi-emperor-level sects were low-level sections. There was no difference between them and the 3 low-level sects that were currently competing. Lin Yu continued, Zhang Lingyi is overbearing, but he has one good point. Chapter 233. What's his strength? Ruthless, Lin Yu smiled noncommittally. Zhang Lingyi will definitely kill anyone he sets his eyes on. Him? Mei obviously looked down on this spoiled brat. However, Lin Yu still smiled helplessly. Of course he's useless, but his parents and the Bodhi sect are his backing. All right. Lin Yu thought of Mei's background again and shrugged. At least in the inner area, the Bodhi sect is enough to be his backing. Mei smiled gloatingly. So he'll deal with you and your sect until you're all dead, right? Lin Yu nodded. Haha, you deserve it. Mei said again, who told you to steal someone else's fiancée? She was not stupid. Although Zhang Lingyi's actions were a little petty, he did it for the sake of a woman. Mei saw it clearly. If I say that I'm innocent, will you believe me? Mei shook her head. Pretend I didn't say anything. Lin Yu had already given up. At this time, the 3 elders of the Dozong sect had already been defeated. They did not continue fighting. Because of the alliance between the Dozong sect and the Loki sect, after seeing the strength of the 3 from the Loki sect, they knew that there was no need for them to risk their lives. At the same time, they saluted and said, We, the Dozong sect, have lost. After that, the three elders returned to the ranks of the Dozong sect. However, they did not wait long before they saw the three from the flying celestial sect land. The three of them looked at each other helplessly. I didn't expect the Dongwang sect lord to join the Loki sect. We've lost, the leader said. After hearing that, Lung Shan, who was in the flying celestial sect, wanted to die. I've lost all my 100 million Yao Bot. On the other side of the crowd, Su Hongyi's heart also skipped a beat. 3 billion. We have to compensate Lin Yu with 3 billion. Li Yi was in a bad mood. Seeing that the outcome was clear, he quickly announced, the one who advanced to the advanced sect this time is the Loki sect, the flying celestial sect. Zhang Lingyi interrupted Li Yi. The latter paused. This young Master Zhang, Loki sect has won. I said. Zhang Lingyi looked at Li Yi coldly. The soaring immortal sect won. Don't you understand? Li Ye's old face started to twitch. Was this kid purposely looking for trouble with the Loki sect? This is going too far. This time, even Qin Wunyan and Yang Kai, who had returned victorious, looked at each other. The former asked, "What do you mean? You don't understand human language?" I said that the soaring immortal sect will be the winner of this promotion competition. Zhang Lingyi smiled disdainfully, ignoring Qin Wunyan and Yang Kai with a look of disgust, instead turning to Li Yi. Still not announcing? This, young Master Zhang, Li Yi cursed in his heart. What kind of spoiled brat was this? Did he think they were all blind? Even the flying celestial sect had admitted defeat, yet he still said that the flying celestial sect had won. This was clearly targeting the Loki sect. My Bodhi sect will decide the outcome of the advancement competition. Don't you understand what my son is saying? Madame Bodhi's cold voice came at this moment. With his mother's support, Li Yi could only grit his teeth. Sect Master Lin, don't blame this old master. The winner this time is. Just as he finished speaking, he saw 3 waves of pressure descend upon him. They were Qin Wunyan, Yang Kai, and Dongwang Feiyu. Li Yi was startled when he saw the angry look on the three's faces. This old master also has his own difficulties. We are grateful that Imperial Preceptor brought us out of the danger of the monster beast forest. We don't blame Imperial Preceptor for this. Please step back. Qin Wunyan cupped his fists and said, giving Li Yi face. Seeing this, Li Yi wanted to persuade them. He guessed that these 3 were going to resist. It could be seen that not only Qin Wunyan looked solemn, but even Yang Kai and Dongwang Feiyu stood in front of Madame Bodhi and Zhang Lingyi. What's wrong? You don't agree? Zhang Lingyi looked down from atop the red-crowned crane. Someone from a low-level star field actually has a backbone? My Loki sect is not a sect that pesters. Dongwang Feiyu still cupped his fists solemnly to show his respect. Then, he said, but the rank advancement competition is about notarization. The Quasi-Emperor sect is also here to preside over this notarization. How can we ignore the results that have already been reached? Qin Wunyan and Yang Kai nodded one after another. Not only them, but none of the people from Loki sect retreated. At this moment, they all came behind the 3 Grand Supremes. Even though they knew that they were no match for those in the law realm, none of them were afraid. Interesting, but it's a pity. Zhang Lingyi stepped on the air and landed. His tyrannical aura swept out, and everyone present immediately felt a sense of oppression. Notarization or not, I, Zhang Lingyi, have the final say. He stepped forward, and his pressure gradually increased. Your sect Master Lin Yu doesn't dare to come out and only sent 3 small fries. Are you looking down on today's rank advancement competition? The sect master has his own things to do. Qin Wunyan said coldly, if the Bodhi sect acts fairly, the 3 of us would have won today's rank advancement competition. Why would the sect master need to come out? What a good Loki sect. Zhang Lingyi smiled. How dare you say that my Bodhi sect is unfair? Li Yi, Xiao Mo, take them down. After hearing this, The whole place was filled with a feeling of mutual hostility. Li Yi lowered his head in silence. At this time, anything he said would be wrong. As for Xiao Mo, because of the benefits given in advance by the Bodhi sect, plus his relationship with Tang Xian, he naturally stood up. He cupped his fists and smiled at Qin Wunyan and the other two, but he was still a little conflicted. Loki's sect belonged to Lin Yu, and Lin Yu was not to be trifled with. What does City Lord Xiao want to say? Dong Wang Feiyu asked coldly. In fact, she had already expected this. However, she still hoped that Xiao Mo would say it himself. In the face of benefits, would these high-level sects immediately turn hostile? Dong Wang Palace Master, back then, your Han Yu Women Palace also experienced the experience of being demoted from a high-level sect to a low-level sect. Xiao Mo looked very righteous and sighed. Alas, Palace Master should understand that you and I have no choice. After saying this, Xiao Mo took a step forward and attacked Dong Wang Feiyu. I understand. Dong Wang Feiyu also had a murderous intent. Interesting, I thought they would be obedient. In the crowd, Mei's tone was strange, but she admired the people of Loki's sect very much. The gap between each level of sect was like a ravine. It took a lot of courage for a low-level sect master to resist a quasi-emperor sect. Your subordinates are not bad. A low-level sect dares to resist a quasi-emperor sect. This is the motto of our Loki sect. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Aren't you going to help? Wait a minute, he said again, and his eyes fell on Li Yi. Li Yi, what are you waiting for? Zhang Lingyi's voice came. Li Yi was stunned. Now that Xiao Mo had taken action, how could he just stand by and watch? If everyone resisted together at the beginning, maybe they could refuse. Forget it. Li Ye's eyes turned and his figure instantly stepped into the air. 300 grand Supreme Realm auras burst out. Chapter 234. I'll fight it out with you. Li Ye's high-pitched voice reverberated in all directions, and a palm fell from the sky. Seeing this, Qin Wunyan gritted his teeth and met it with a palm. He thought that it would be extremely difficult for him to face Li Yi. But in the next moment, he saw that there was no pressure at all on his palm. He didn't use any strength. Qin Wunyan immediately guessed something and withdrew the power of the Supreme, but the remaining fluctuations still hit Li Ye's body. Bang! Everyone saw Li Yi fly out, and even spit out a mouthful of blood. This, Qin Wunyan was surprised, but then Li Yi got up with difficulty. I'm not fighting anymore, I'm not going to fight anymore. I'm old, and if we continue, I'll be in the coffin. After he said this, he seemed to be unable to stand steadily and sat on the ground again. How could Zhang Lingyi not see that Li Yi was playing tricks? And Li Yi did make a move. Now that he was old, it was reasonable that he couldn't win. Useless thing, since that's the case, I'll do it myself. Zhang Lingyi raised both hands. He didn't want to fight with these lowly people, but Li Yi was useless. Emperor's preceptor, I guessed that he would do this. On the other side, Shen Suyi had already pretended to be injured under the battle fluctuations, and was surrounded by a group of disciples to heal her. Qin Qing smiled. Master, your acting is really good. Silly disciple, I believe you. Shen Suyi whispered. Lin Yu, whether you really can't be an enemy, we'll see the result today. Hearing this, Qin Qing pursed her lips. The situation was getting more and more chaotic, but why wasn't he back yet? The outer region is really trash. Zhang Lingyi personally made a move, and behind him, a huge shadow rose from the ground. That was an emerald green golden body, and its aura was so strong that it immediately made Qin Wunyan feel a sense of crisis. If you want to fight, then let's fight. Qin Wunyan gritted his teeth, and a golden body appeared behind him. That was an ink-colored giant dragon, opening its bloody mouth. When Zhang Lingyi's golden body came, the black dragon also went up to meet it. In an instant, the wind and moon changed color in front of the realm crossing door, and one after another battle fluctuations resounded. How dare you keep a low profile? You actually dare to cause trouble in the rank advancement competition. What do you think of the laws of our star field? Seeing this, the soaring immortal sect, as the biggest beneficiary, naturally stood on the Bodhi sect's side. Your opponent is here. Qi Yao, Yao Rao, the Wind and Moon Immortals, Qin Ji, Long Lin, Lu Wuheng, Jun Wushang, and the others were standing in front of the flying immortal sect. A bunch of trash. Do they really think that they can go against a quasi-emperor level sect? Lung Shan and the others constantly taunted low-profile sect, but everyone in the flying immortal sect was deeply shocked by low-profile sect. Although the combat power of the low-profile sect's people was not strong, their aura scared them. It doesn't matter if I succeed or not. Lu Wuhen's lips curved up. The Phoenix Song spear appeared in his hand. But our patriarch has taught us that the low-key sect cannot be insulted. The low-profile sect can be killed or lost, but we won. Yet you say that we lost? That's unacceptable, Qinji said sternly. She also erupted with battle power and joined the battle. Around Lin Yu's location, many people began to flee in all directions, afraid that they would be caught in the crossfire. With a rumbling sound, an ink dragon fell to the ground. Qin Wunyan spat out a mouthful of blood. He struggled to stand still, but his aura had become much more chaotic. The low-profile sect is only SOSO. Zhang Lingyi looked down and sneered disdainfully. But in the next moment, a sword chi fell between his eyebrows like a ghost. Sensing a life and death crisis, Zhang Lingyi burned his cultivation in exchange for speed that exceeded his limit. He suddenly retreated 10 meters. Where he was just now, the sword chi soared into the sky. If he had been a step slower, he would have become a corpse. Damn it! Zhang Lingyi stared vigilantly and angrily at the middle-aged man who was slowly walking over. So, you're the strongest. Right, emissary, go and help Elder Wu and the others, Yang Kai said. Qin Wunyan nodded. He had also seen the flying immortal sect surround the low-profile sect in the advancement battle just now, so he immediately went to help. Zhang Lingyi stared at Yang Kai vigilantly. In the advancement battle just now, he did not even use his full strength, but he had already made the Dozong and flying immortal sect admit defeat. So, Zhang Lingyi did not see Yang Kai's true strength at all. Child, withdraw. Madame Bodhi said lightly, he is not someone you can deal with. Mother, I can. Zhang Lingyi did not believe this. The middle-aged man in front of him was just an unshakable boundary cultivator. How could he not be able to defeat him? But in the next moment, Yang Kai remained motionless, but countless sword chi burst out from behind him, piercing towards Zhang Lingyi. Take my fist! Zhang Lingyi roared, his golden body clenching into a fist and condensing his aura into his right fist. His huge fist collided with the countless sword chi. Shockwaves swept out in all directions. Even Mei, who was watching from below, felt her blood boil a little. What, you want to fight? Lin Yu glanced at her. Don't you want to? Although your people can still deal with the current situation, don't forget there is still Madame Bodhi. Even Mei looked at Madame Bodhi, whose eyes were now filled with murderous intent, with some dread. No one here can deal with this person, Mei said again. If my combat strength was restored to its peak, I might be able to help you deal with her. Little Mei, didn't you want to kill me? Why are you helping me after you've recovered? Lin Yu said deliberately. Mei snorted softly. I was just giving an example. Who said I wanted to help you? Lin Yu did not argue with her, simply smiling and saying, in fact, to deal with an opponent, you don't necessarily have to fight. What do you mean? Mei was a little confused. With her status, she should not have taken Lin Yu's opinion seriously. But after spending some time together, Lin Yu's shrewdness and his ability to see through her secret arts meridians, she had no choice but to take Lin Yu's every word seriously. That's what I mean. Lin Yu was taller than Mei, standing very close to her at this moment, lowering his head and saying, "I don't need to fight with you, but I have already subdued you." "Impudent, who has been subdued by you?" Mei immediately retorted. Lin Yu shrugged, "I was just giving an example." His eyes fell on Madame Bodhi. This woman is even more complicated than her husband. Lin Yu only said this, but what he didn't say next was that the more complicated a woman was, the more he understood her. At this moment, the three battles were gradually coming to an end. Dong Wang Feiyu and Xiao Mo were on the same side. During the time in the Loki sect, Dong Wang Feiyu was mainly in charge of secret arts. There, Lin Yu deliberately prepared some auxiliary cultivation arts that were beneficial to the bright jade skill. Therefore, Dong Wang Feiyu's combat strength had already been restored to a stronger state than before. Chapter 235. Xiao Mo retreated with difficulty, gritting his teeth, but he knew that he couldn't fight anymore. As expected of the top cultivator in the outer territory, Xiao Mo thought to himself as he retreated. But after Dong Wang Feiyu defeated him, he still joined the battle against the Flying Celestial Sect. The Flying Celestial Sect had already been defeated once. At this moment, with the addition of Qin Wunyan and Dong Wang Feiyu, they were gradually losing ground and began to retreat. Damn it, didn't this group of people just establish their sect? How can they be so strong? Their individual combat power may not be strong, but their cooperation is very good. Look at Lu Wuhen and Long Lin, they are actually competing to see who can kill more people. And those 5 women, they each use the 4 arts of zither, chess, calligraphy, and painting. I have never seen them before. How can they resist? Lin Yu looked at the battle with satisfaction. However, the outcome of the current situation still depended on Zhang Lingyi. Yang Kai's body moved without wind, and his sword qi was so strong that it was shattering Zhang Lingyi's golden avatar. At this moment, Madame Beauty had to stand in front of Zhang Lingyi. "Child, step back," she ordered. Zhang Lingyi's aura was chaotic, but he no longer acted foolishly. He knew that this person was not simple, and his strength was not enough to deal with him. Invincible Sword Dao can fight against Supreme Elders. As far as I know, there was only one person in the Emperor Gate star field. Madame Beauty's voice sounded, and there was a charming feeling. Although Zhang Lingyi could tell that she was at least 40 years old, her skin was extremely well maintained. He wondered how much glory bought and resources of the Bodhi sect this woman spent on her face every day. But it had to be said that she was still attractive to women. If a man preferred mature women, then such a high-ranking and charming woman was fatally attractive to him. "The Emperor Gate's first sword, is it your excellency?" Madame Beauty asked tentatively. Yang Kai narrowed his eyes. "The Emperor Gate's first sword is a thing of the past. As expected, it is Senior Yang." Madame Beauty smiled faintly. "Senior Yang is from the Emperor Gate. How can you get involved in the affairs of a low-level sect?" While speaking, Madame Beauty casually brushed the hair on her temples. "You're older than me, so there's no need to call me senior." Yang Kai replied indifferently, "I already said that the Emperor's Gate's first sword is a thing of the past. Now, my sect is a Loki sect. Why do you think I would care about this matter?" Madame Beauty's face darkened when she heard the first sentence. Saying that a woman was older than him, wasn't that just courting death? But seeing Yang Kai's indifferent and unreasonable appearance, Madame Bodhi was greatly disappointed. He was a boring and straightforward man. No matter how amazing his sword Dao was, at this moment she felt that it was boring. "Since you're from the Loki sect, then I won't be polite." The speed at which a woman changed her mind was faster than flipping through a book. Yang Kai's eyes widened at this moment as he saw a principal pressing down on him. "Space, strangle." Seeing that Yang Kai was about to draw his sword, she smiled and said, "I heard that you died after being expelled from Sword Emperor sect. I didn't expect that you would remain in the outer territory all this time. Yang Kai was startled. Sword Emperor Sect. Just as he was startled, the other party's principal had already descended. The space around Yang Kai seemed to be grabbed by an invisible hand and directly crushed, causing the entire space to creak. The violent fluctuations and tearing force caused his body to distort at this moment. Poisonous woman. How could Yang Kai not know that Madame Bodhi's words were deliberately disturbing his mind? Sword chi surged out as Kai Yang roared. Behind him, a gigantic golden sword chopped down from the heavens. The sharp sword chi cut down on Yang Kai's head, but there was nothing there that could be seen with the naked eye. But Yang Kai concluded that there was something controlling the space around him, so he couldn't even move now. Hong Long. The sword chi suddenly stopped 1 meter above Yang Kai's head, and there, a principal fluctuation gradually appeared. It was a hand, a transparent hand. Sure enough, how can a poisonous woman like you comprehend true space principles? Yang Kai regained his freedom and immediately retreated a few steps, but he was still injured. Even if it's not space principles, it's enough to take down your group. Madame Bodhi looked down and the transparent hand immediately fell on the low-profile sect group. The Emperor's Gate's first sword is invincible against the Supreme Elder, but I am a principal. Under this Madame's formless palm seal, you are all ants. Yang Kai, if you continue to hide, these people will die before you. Oh no! Yang Kai's movement skill burst out, and when he reappeared, he was already under the palm, resisting it head-on. Hong Long. Yang Kai spat out a mouthful of blood. The moment the palm disappeared, the space around him was crushed again. Are you really not going to help? Mei turned around and asked Lin Yu, but Lin Yu, who was standing behind her, had disappeared. When did he disappear? She was shocked, and when she saw Lin Yu again, the Buddhist karma body had already stepped into the air above him. The huge golden body immediately attracted everyone's attention. Sect Master! Sect Master is back! Everyone looked up and saw the golden body raise its hands, and 2 completely different auras converged. The left hand was Yin. The right hand was Yang. The golden body put its palms together and smashed them down. In an instant, Yang Kai's principal palm, which was pressing down on him, cracked under the impact of this blow. What kind of radiant chi is that? Madame Beauty gasped. Her principal palm seal was actually shattered by radiant chi? Just as she was about to attack again, she heard a young man's voice from the Buddhist karma body. Beside Qingqing River, young lord in white, no more love, only yearning. Lin Yu's voice sounded, and Madame Beauty's phoenix eyes widened. Her figure instantly disappeared, and when she reappeared, she was already in front of Lin Yu. Smelly brat, how did you know? Her face was ferocious, and her right hand grabbed Lin Yu's neck, ready to crush it at any time. Sect Master. Yang Kai, Qin Wunyan, Dongwang Feiyu, and everyone else saw Lin Yu being captured and were about to rush over. Even Mei, who was in the distance, was shocked and couldn't help but worry about Lin Yu. Damn it, he can only die in my hands. Mei was ready to burn her cultivation in exchange for an instant principal eruption, but in the next moment, she heard Lin Yu's laughter that spread in all directions. It's fine, everyone back down. With these words, the entire battle situation outside the realm crossing gate came to a complete halt. He is Lin Yu. Mother, kill him for me. Zhang Lingyi stared at Lin Yu. It's you, the person in Tang Xian's heart. Your son told you to do it, why aren't you doing it? Lin Yu's lips curled up as he looked at Madame Beauty up close. This woman now had a murderous look on her face, but in his eyes, she was just a toothless tigress. What this madam is asking is, how did you know this poem? Lin Yu lowered his head and pointed at her hand. Is this how you ask people? Chapter 236. Enough nonsense. The hand on his throat tightened significantly. Lin Yu remained calm. If you want old Master Bodhi to know about this poem, go ahead and use all your strength. As soon as these words came out, Madame Bodhi's heart tightened. What else do you know? The white-robed young lord is dead, but his bloodline. Lin Yu's lips curled up as his gaze swept past Madame Bodhi and landed on Zhang Lingyi. Soon, he turned back to Madame Bodhi. Do I need to say more? Who else knows about this? Madame Bodhi forcefully suppressed her anger and asked in a low voice. I'm the only one who knows. You can kill me now. Lin Yu smiled faintly. This secret was something he had learned while trapped for 100,000 years, so naturally, no one else knew about it. Therefore, if Madame Beauty killed him, then no one would know about her past secret. But Lin Yu's confident appearance made her not dare to take this gamble. He was definitely lying. Aren't you afraid I'll kill you now? Madame Bodhi warned, her aura erupting at the same time, suppressing Lin Yu to the point of suffocation. The gap between his current combat power and a principal realm master's was still too big. If he had not weakened the other party's principles beforehand, he would not have been able to shatter them so easily. But now, in a head-on clash of auras, if he did not use the power of his black feathers and divine ability, just the aura of his three essences as one would not be enough. Go ahead and use all your strength. If you anger me, you know the consequences. Lin Yu also grabbed Madame Bodhi's collar with one hand, a scene that caused the hairs on everyone's back to stand on end. I dared to come out because I prepared a backup plan. I hope this backup plan is something you can bear. Lin Yu said again. Zhang Lingyi saw Lin Yu actually daring to touch his mother and flew into a rage. Stand down. But before he could take a few steps, he was shouted back by Madame Bodhi. The latter suppressed his emotions and spoke to Lin Yu in a much gentler tone. You're that Lin Yu? You do have some skills. Fine, I won't argue with you about today's matter. As for that secret, it will rot in your stomach forever. What do you think? After saying that, she was about to let go of Lin Yu's hand. But in the next moment, Lin Yu pulled Madame Beauty closer instead. In your dreams, Lin Yu said in a low voice, I want you to agree to 3 things. Otherwise, don't talk about it. No one dares to negotiate with me. Then I'll be the first. When Madame Beauty met Lin Yu's eyes, she immediately felt that her aura was inferior to his. Forget it. As long as it's not too much, I can promise you. Even though her face was filled with unwillingness, what Lin Yu knew was not only fatal to her, but also to Zhang Lingyi. Very good. First, the result of today's advancement match will be what it should be. When he said that, Madame Beauty looked at him in surprise. It's that simple? She thought that Lin Yu would demand an exorbitant price. Since my low-key sect won, it's a victory. No one can change the result, Lin Yu said. His tone was calm, but Madame Beauty could hear the sincerity and determination in his words. Just like what the low-key sect had shouted at the beginning. The low-key sect could not be humiliated. What else? The second thing is to slap your son and go back with him. Impudent! Madame Beauty immediately glared at Lin Yu, but the latter showed no fear. This is his punishment. He should be punished for messing up today's advancement match. Lin Yu continued in a neither servile nor overbearing tone. Remember, my low-key sect is reasonable. Madame Beauty was silent. But Lin Yu knew that with her status, her silence meant that she agreed. Third, you say it. Madame Beauty asked, but Lin Yu let go of her collar. I haven't thought of it yet. Let's talk about it later. You. Madame Beauty felt like she was being played. Don't worry, before I say it, your secret will never be known by Patriarch Beauty. Madame Beauty warned in a low voice. I hope you can keep your promise. Otherwise, there will be no low-key sect in the outer realm. Lin Yu nodded with a smile. This deal was settled. Mother, why are you wasting time with him? Kill me if you don't want to. Zhang Lingyi was running out of patience. When two love rivals meet, their eyes would turn red. Use more strength, Lin Yu ordered. Madame Pewdie's body tensed up. She gritted her teeth and turned around. Mother, are you telling me to kill him myself? Zhang Lingyi smiled excitedly when he saw Madame Pewdie walking toward him. I understand. Tang Xian will know who the strongest man is if Lin Yu dies in my hands. He went straight for Lin Yu. The crowd could smell the scent of another battle. But the moment he passed by Madame Pewdie, slap! A slap resounded through the crowd. The crowd was stunned. The source of the slap was Madame Pewdie, and in front of her, Zhang Lingyi only felt a burning pain on his face. Mother, you hit me? Zhang Lingyi gritted his teeth. You and father have never hit me in my entire life. Why are you doing this now? Impudent! Madame Pewdie was furious. It's because I have never hit you that you are getting more and more unruly. Today is the Outer Realms Advancement Battle. Loki Sect 1. What are you doing now? Don't you know my target? Zhang Lingyi thought his mother was crazy. He had always been reckless, and his parents were always on his side. But now, what was going on? That guy, what did he do? Charm's mouth was agape. She didn't need to do anything. Lin Yu had already taken care of him. On the other side, Li Yi, Shen Sui, and the rest couldn't believe Madame Pewdie would say something like that. This woman who spoiled her son had made Zhang Lingyi infamous in the inner realm. If she had been so righteous from the start, how could there be such an annoying Zhang Lingyi today? There's a big problem. Sect leader Lin must have said something to Madame Pewdie. Li Yi looked at Lin Yu from afar. I knew it. If he can take care of Hellgate, why can't he take care of Bodhi Sect? He was glad that he didn't do anything to Loki Sect. Enough. There's no need to talk about this anymore. Madame Pewdie couldn't be bothered to look at Zhang Lingyi anymore. She turned to the others. Loki Sect is now an advanced sect. No one is allowed to object to what happened today. With that, Madame Pewdie stepped onto her crane. Her gaze fell on Lin Yu again. When I see sect leader Lin again in the future, I hope I can fulfill my wish. Zhang Lingyi's face was dark. How could he dare to find trouble with Lin Yu now? He felt that he had lost all face today. His mother had called Lin Yu sect leader in front of everyone. Wasn't that a slap to his face? Everyone remembered that Zhang Lingyi had ridiculed Lin Yu for being a sect master at the beginning. Suddenly, Lin Yu's voice interrupted his thoughts. Zhang Lingyi, am I not the sect leader? Chapter 237. Only then did Zhang Lingyi understand. You've been here for a long time? Otherwise, how would Lin Yu know about what happened at the beginning? But Lin Yu ignored him. I'm asking you a question. This domineering question immediately made people feel that Zhang Lingyi was a level lower in front of Lin Yu. But in fact, when Zhang Lingyi first appeared, no one from the outer territory was worthy of his attention. Damn it, who do you think you are? Zhang Lingyi was about to get angry, but he heard Madame Bodhi's voice. Answer me. Did I teach you to be rude? Zhang Lingyi stood there for a long time before he finally said to Lin Yu, yes. What is it? Lin Yu looked down at the people from the Loki sect and asked again. Those people looked at Zhang Lingyi's appearance and were in a good mood at this moment. You are the sect master. Zhang Lingyi gritted his teeth and stepped onto the red-crowned crane as soon as he finished speaking. At this time, Lin Yu replied to Madame Bodhi, see you next time, madam. Madame Bodhi also knew that it was not the time to talk, so she nodded and left. The huge immortal crane became smaller and smaller and entered the world-crossing gate in everyone's eyes. It was only at this moment that the tense atmosphere finally relaxed. The sect master is the sect master. Even Madame Bodhi has to give him face. The people from the Loki sect looked at Lin Yu with admiration. In this regard, Lin Yu did not take it to heart. Dong Wang Fei Yu and Qin Wunyan came over. Lin Yu came to Yang Kai. Is left emissary Yang all right? It's all thanks to the sect master's return. Yang Kai shook his head. With Yang Qing's help, he said again, Sect Master, it seems that we have formed a grudge with the Bodhi sect this time. So what? Lin Yu smiled faintly. Yang Kai could not help but laugh at this sentence, regardless of his injuries. The rest of the people from the low-key sect also reacted the same way. So what? That's right. When has our low-key sect ever been afraid of anyone? We don't cause trouble, and we're never afraid of trouble. Lord Lin. At this moment, Li Yu immediately stepped into the air and bowed a few times. I finally endured until you came back. Qin Wunyan, who was beside Lin Yu, secretly told Lin Yu about Li Ye's actions just now. Hearing that, Lin Yu smiled. Actually, he had already guessed it when Li Yi was beaten back by Qin Wunyan in one move. But now that he saw Li Yi, he couldn't help but smile. The word endure is used very well. Imperial Preceptor, you've worked hard. This sentence seemed to have a hidden meaning. When Li Yi heard this, he blinked his old eyes. Brother Lin, this old man has his own difficulties. Lin Yu was afraid that he would continue to talk nonsense, so he raised his hand to interrupt him. Imperial Preceptor, there's no need to say more. What you've done today can be considered as helping our low-profile sect. Lin Yu will remember this. To be able to join a quasi-emperor sect and brazenly go easy on them without kicking them while they were down was already considered good. Brother Lin, this old man is relieved that you're so righteous. Li Yi laughed heartily. I still have to congratulate low-profile sect for officially becoming a high-ranking sect today. When Li Ye's voice fell, an ancient and cold voice spread across the entire starry sky from the outer region. Outer region, low-profile sect, promoted to a high-ranking sect. This voice seemed to have put an end to today's events. The Flying Celestial sect, who had come to deal with low-profile sect with hope and pride, were all gloomy at this moment. Bodhi sect is useless. They were actually scared off by Lin Yu with just a few words? Not only that, but Zhang Lingyi was also beaten up by Madame Bodhi. It's clear how much she fears Lin Yu. Where did this group of people come from? They rose from a low-ranking sect to a high-ranking sect in such a short time. Today we've offended low-profile sect. Our future days will be difficult. At this moment, apart from the Flying Celestial sect and the Navagraha Dragon Sealing City, everyone came up to congratulate Lin Yu. Lin Yu couldn't be bothered with these social matters. Instead, he gave full authority to Qinji, Jun Wushang, and the others. Jun Wushang, in particular, was in charge of networking with the other sections. It was his responsibility as an elder. Li Yi saw that Lin Yu wasn't in the mood to liven things up, so he pulled him aside. Sect Master Lin, is the matter with the ghost sect really settled? Lin Yu nodded. It's settled for now. However, you'd better not go back for the time being. Now was the time to reap the rewards from the demon cave. Lin Yu was waiting for the others who coveted the black feather to become its nutrients, and all the rewards would eventually fall into Lin Yu's hands. However, this matter still needed some time to reel in the net. Then this old man can rest assured. With Brother Lin around, I don't think anyone from the ghost sect would dare to act recklessly. Li Yi snorted. Tell me, who wouldn't dare to act recklessly? A familiar voice fell into Li Ye's ears. The next moment, he instinctively knelt down. This voice wasn't familiar to Li Yi because he had heard it too many times, but because hearing it once was enough to make him afraid, so he kept recalling it in his mind. Sir, please forgive me. This old man didn't mean that. After Li Yi finished speaking, he saw that there was no one else in front of him. Lin Yu smiled faintly. Imperial Preceptor, why are you bowing? Cough. Li Yi hurriedly got up. Could it be that this old man's ears aren't good and I'm hallucinating? Did Sect Master Lin hear it just now? What did you hear? Li Yi moved closer. I heard the voice of one of the 4 ghost generals, Charm. Yes. Lin Yu nodded. Li Ye's heart tightened. Really? Where is it? Behind you. Charm's voice came again. She snorted coldly behind Li Yi, and the latter immediately bounced up. Sir, it's really you. Cold sweat broke out on Li Yi's forehead. The second of the 4 ghost generals, a law realm powerhouse, the lord of an emperor-level sect. Its deterrence was much greater than that of the Bodhi sect. Get up. Charm couldn't be bothered with Li Yi. Instead, she looked at Lin Yu. What do you plan to do next? Treat your injuries and then send you away. Lin Yu's casual words caused Charm's gaze to become absent-minded for a moment. She then replied, All right, I don't want to delay you for too long. However, it won't be easy to treat you. It'll take at least 1.5 years. Lin Yu rubbed his chin again and smiled helplessly. Little Charm, are you reluctant to leave? Scram. Charm's expression became angry. However, she didn't really do anything to Lin Yu. Instead, there was some unconcealable joy in her beautiful eyes. When Li Yi saw this scene, he was immediately stunned. Why do these two seem to be very familiar with each other? Li Yi muttered in his heart. His admiration for Lin Yu grew even more. A young talent. Whether it's Lord Emperor's Gate or Madame Bodhi, they can't escape from Sect Master Lin's claws. He naturally didn't dare to let Lin Yu hear his words. Seeing that he was in the way, Li Yi quietly left. Is it time to tell the truth now? Charm glanced in the direction Li Yi left and smiled. Chapter 238. It seems like you're getting to know me better? Lin Yu said with a smile. Of course. I know you seem to be exaggerating, but if you consider every step carefully, you can see that your schemes are watertight. I'm not asking you to praise me. What I mean is that you're very careful, and you're wary of Li Yi. That's why you're unwilling to tell him your next step. Charm's voice was very soft as she whispered, Tell me, what else do you have for fun? You're very smart. Lin Yu lowered his head and met Charm's gaze. But you're wrong about something. What is it? Lin Yu leaned in close to her red ears. I'm not saying it because I'm wary of Li Yi, but because I'm wary of you. You bastard! Charm was so angry that her pretty face turned pale. She felt that her injuries were getting worse and worse. But before she could say anything, Lin Yu had already left. Where are you going? To collect money. With that, Charm followed him. The two arrived at the gambling house's entrance again. There were many people walking in and out. Many of them looked melancholic. It was obvious that they had lost money today. After all, Loki Sect's fame was too recent. They were unwilling to believe that Loki Sect could win the advancement competition. But now that Loki Sect had won, those who bet on the Fighting Sect and Flying Celestial Sect to win naturally lost everything. But now, behind the curtain of a small room in the gambling house, Su Hongyi was sitting with a pale face and a nervous expression. She didn't have the slightest bit of joy from earning so much money. She had just returned from the advancement competition and had seen the results with her own eyes. Because of Zhang Lingyi, Loki Sect had lost first place. She was happy that she had earned 3 billion. But after Lin Yu appeared, the entire world changed. Su Hongyi was thinking about this when a maidservant's voice suddenly came from outside the room, interrupting her thoughts. Master, a guest is here to withdraw 6 billion glory bot. Hearing this, Su Hongyi took a deep breath. How much glory bot can the gambling house use now? She knew that Lin Yu was here. He had invested 3 billion. According to the odds and his capital, he could withdraw 6 billion this time. The maid was startled. Master, you had me count this morning. There should be around 5 billion left, including the profits from the rank advancement competition. The maidservant nodded. Yes. Su Hongyi's face paled. 1 billion. Go to the shops that we're on good terms with and see if you can borrow 1 billion. Master, this. The maidservant looked embarrassed. Her gambling house had always been the richest in the commercial city outside the gate. She was used to being arrogant in front of other shops, but now she had to borrow from others? This was a little embarrassing. Go, now is not the time to worry about other things. With that, Su Hongyi stood up. Go quickly and come back quickly. Remember, bring more people with you and lower yourself. I'll hold Lin Yu back. Yes. The maidservant braced herself and left. After doing this, Su Hongyi frowned and walked out of the small room. It was the main hall of the gambling house. At this time, Lin Yu and Mei were also looking around. This place is quite elegant. I came in a hurry last time and didn't look carefully. After Mei finished speaking, Lin Yu nodded. Nanru. Su Hongyi's taste is not bad. Mei looked at Lin Yu suspiciously. Why do I feel like you know that boss very well? Lin Yu smiled noncommittally. Actually, I know you very well too. When he said that, Mei's face immediately turned red. On one hand, it was because Lin Yu's words were frivolous and rude. On the other hand, what Lin Yu said was actually the truth. Ever since they met, she couldn't hide any of her thoughts from Lin Yu. Esteemed guests have arrived. Please forgive Hongyi for coming late. Su Hongyi walked over with dignified step. She bowed slightly to Lin Yu and Mei. Lin Yu couldn't help but tease Mei. Little Mei, if you have time, you should learn from Boss Su. Learn for what? I just need to know how to cultivate. Mei snorted softly, but her eyes were honestly looking at Su Hongyi. It was indeed an attractive appearance. But she, who was used to fighting, couldn't do such an action. Do all men like this type? Mei couldn't help but ask. But Lin Yu had already left her and walked to Su Hongyi. Boss Su, you're especially beautiful today. Su Hongyi was stunned. She was used to such flattering words. But when Lin Yu said it, there was no frivolity in his eyes. Instead, it gave her the feeling of a superior praising a subordinate. Even Su Hongyi couldn't help but rejoice in her heart. Young Master Lin's mouth is really sweet. Su Hongyi smiled faintly. The way her red lips parted slightly was quite seductive. Lin Yu's eyes seemed to see through her. Boss Su, you should be worried about 1,000,000,000 glory bot, but you still have such a mental state. It's really good. Su Hongyi was shocked. How did Sect Master Lin know I'm short of 1,000,000,000? As soon as she said it, she knew she had said something wrong. Wasn't this admitting that her gambling house didn't have the money to give Lin Yu? Seeing this, the beauty in front of Lin Yu was in a dilemma, which made him feel even more amused. I can give Boss Su some time. I don't think your servant will be gone for too long. Hearing this, Su Hongyi felt very embarrassed. How did Lin Yu know how much glory bot her gambling house had? Moreover, she had sent her servant through the back door. Lin Yu was in the main hall, and he even knew who she sent? Sect Master Lin is so well informed. Could it be that you have many spies in the city? Why would I need spies? Lin Yu said confidently. There are very few secrets in the world that can hide from me. Su Hongyi shook her head helplessly. Sect Master Lin, you became famous at such a young age. It's good that you have such confidence. However, Lin Yu and Mei could hear the doubt in her words. Obviously, she felt that Lin Yu's words were too arrogant. It seems that Boss Su doesn't believe me. Hearing this, Su Hongyi knew that she couldn't hide it from Lin Yu. She smiled and said, I'll just take it as Sect Master Lin's high-spirited joke. You don't have to take it seriously. Lin Yu knew that it was time to get to the point. He smiled and said, How about I make a bet with Boss Su? Su Hongyi was very relaxed and interested. Lin Yu finding a topic to talk about could help her stall for time. She couldn't be happier. Sect Master Lin, why don't you tell me? Then I'll make a bet with Boss Su. Let's see if your servant can borrow 1,000,000,000. Su Hongyi frowned and said angrily, Sect Master Lin, you're looking down on my casino. Fine, I'll make a bet with you. My people can borrow 1,000,000,000. My servant can borrow 1,000,000,000, but there has to be a bet. Chapter 239. What's the bet? Lin Yu rubbed his chin. If I lose, I'll give you 6,000,000,000 glory bot, and I won't take a single cent. How does that sound? Are you serious? Su Hongyi's eyes lit up. Charm was also watching Lin Yu's every move. She couldn't help but feel angry. This kid is really good at picking up girls. She had seen Su Hongyi step into Lin Yu's trap with her own eyes. Of course. Don't you trust the sect master of the low-key sect? Su Hongyi bowed and smiled apologetically. I'm sorry for my rudeness. Since sect master Lin has spoken, it's naturally a matter of law. However, if I lose, what does sect master want? I want you. Lin Yu took a step closer, and Su Hongyi's expression changed. She interrupted him. Sect master Lin, please respect yourself. Of course I know. Boss Su, you've always been a virgin. Lin Yu smiled apologetically. But I haven't finished yet. Don't panic, Boss Su. Even though it was an apology, Su Hongyi could not help but blush. How did he know that she was still that kind of person? Young master, please continue. I want Boss Su to accompany me to the inner area. Hearing this, Su Hongyi's pretty face instantly turned ghastly pale. Impossible. She refused without even thinking about it. This scene shocked Mei greatly. Logically speaking, people who opened gambling houses like this would have the opportunity to see the world. If Lin Yu could take her to the inner area, it wouldn't be a bad thing. However, Su Hongyi's expression told Charm that she was terrified of the inner area. Boss Su, won't you consider it? Lin Yu asked again. No need. Someone, come. Su Hongyi hurriedly shouted to a servant not far behind her. The servant immediately stepped forward and handed over a storage ring that had been prepared. Here are 5 billion glory baht. Please wait for a moment for the rest, Sect Master Lin. Lin Yu couldn't help but remind her, Boss Su, you still have to face what you have to face. You. Su Hongyi's face darkened. What do you know? Lin Yu glanced at the person behind her. You guys can leave first. Su Hongyi knew what Lin Yu meant. After her people left, why was Mei still here? Where are your men? Her. Lin Yu turned around and glanced at Charm. You should go out and wait too. Humph. Mei snorted in annoyance, but she still walked out obediently. Sect leader Lin, I don't know how you know the surname Nanru. Su Hongyi looked over with a pleading expression. But I'm all alone in the outer realm. Can you keep this a secret for me, Sect Master? Of course you can keep it a secret. Lin Yu paced around Su Hongyi. I didn't come here to threaten you, Boss Su. Like I said, I want you to come with me to the inner area. What happened in the past has nothing to do with me. Nanru Hongyi, but you still went through the realm gate today. Lin Yu's voice became serious. If you really think that the inner area has nothing to do with you, why did you go there? I told you, my name is Su Hongyi. Su Hongyi clenched her teeth. I'm the owner of the gambling house. The outcome of the advancement battle is related to the gambling house. Have you forgotten what Madame Beauty and I did today? Su Hongyi couldn't help but tremble. She grabbed Lin Yu's hand and said uncontrollably, You told her about me? Lin Yu smiled and said, If I told you, would you still be here? She dared to kill your mother. Do you think she'll let you go? Su Hongyi took a few steps back and let out a long sigh. Thank you, sect leader Lin. But she'll come again. Lin Yu continued, Today is the official ranking battle. In the past, whenever it was the turn of a quasi-emperor sect, they would come with great fanfare to showcase the strength of a quasi-emperor sect. This is also one of the ways to suppress the outer area sections. But you should know that Madame Beauty and Zhang Lingyi are here today. This is not normal. Su Hongyi's face grew paler and paler. Sect leader Lin, if you have something to say, just say it. Hongyi can hold on. It's time for Patriarch Beauty to pass on her position. Before that, she wants to eliminate the source of trouble. Lin Yu's voice was incomparably calm, but it set off huge waves in Su Hongyi's heart. My mother, Nanru, is already dead. Why won't she let me go? Su Hongyi shook her head. I've never thought of competing with Zhang Lingyi. But your existence is still a hidden danger. Lin Yu patted her shoulder. Su Hongyi would never let a man touch her, but at this moment, she couldn't refuse Lin Yu. Lin Yu said softly, "A man's wealth is his own ruin. Patriarch Pudi's care for you is the greatest hidden danger. Once you reappear in Patriarch Pudi, everything that Zhang Lingyi has now may be taken away by you. You should know this." Su Hongyi staggered a few steps. "She knows I'm here? If not, Madame Pudi and Zhang Lingyi wouldn't have only come today." She could see that Zhang Lingyi's goal was Lin Yu, while Madame Pudi's goal was to protect her son. But Lin Yu's words shattered this misconception. "Sect leader Lin, may I ask when will she come?" Su Hongyi asked. Lin Yu answered firmly, "As long as I'm in the Outland, she won't dare to come." Su Hongyi turned around and met Lin Yu's eyes. She was sure that no one in the Outland would dare to say such a thing. As long as he was in the Outland, Madame Pudi, a quasi-emperor sect expert of the law realm, wouldn't dare to come to the Outland? How arrogant was that? But Su Hongyi saw incomparable confidence and certainty in Lin Yu's eyes. She recalled what happened a few hours ago. Lin Yu did have the confidence to say that. "Sect leader Lin, are you leaving the Outland?" Lin Yu nodded and smiled. "You're not stupid. Now, do you have the confidence to make a bet with me?" Su Hongyi let out a long sigh. "Since there's no turning back, I naturally have to bet. I hope sect leader will keep your promise. If I win, 6 billion glory bot. Yes, I won't take a single cent," Lin Yu said again. Su Hongyi smiled. The two waited quietly. Outside the door, Charm had been pacing back and forth for a long time. What did that guy say for so long? Charm complained in her heart, but Lin Yu seemed to have forgotten about her. Soon, she saw a servant girl run back. "Master, did you borrow it?" Su Hongyi asked hurriedly. The servant girl saw that Lin Yu was also here, and her face was conflicted. Seeing this, Su Hongyi suddenly had an ominous feeling. "It's fine. Tell me." Hearing this, the servant girl was stunned. When did Master become so familiar with Lin Yu? In the past, when there were outsiders, she would not talk about the gambling house's internal affairs. "Master, 3 shops rejected me." Chapter 240. What else? Su Hongyi's face turned gloomy. 7 other shops said that if they agreed to pay us double the interest, they would lend us their money. Shameless. Su Hongyi's face turned red. Go on. As for the other small shops, they are willing to lend us some money because we have helped them before. The maidservant stretched out her hand, and a string of words flashed on her storage ring. Only 30 million. The maidservant said helplessly. Su Hongyi was so angry that she swung her hand, and the storage ring fell to the ground. She slammed the table behind her. Outrageous! Didn't I treat these people well? Now, they don't know how to repay kindness? The maidservant was so scared that she didn't dare to speak. You can leave now. There's nothing for you to do here. The one who broke the silence was Lin Yu. The maidservant trembled in fear, not daring to listen to Lin Yu. Sect Master Lin told you to leave, so leave. Su Hongyi's voice came. The maidservant looked at Lin Yu in surprise. She had followed Su Hongyi for so many years, and this was the first time she saw a man giving orders to Su Hongyi's people in the gambling house. And Su Hongyi had agreed? Didn't she hate overstepping her boundaries and meddling in other people's affairs? This servant will leave now. After the maidservant left, Su Hongyi shook her head helplessly. Sect Master Lin already guessed this? Yes, I know their character very well. The people in this city can't wait for you to fall. After all, Lin Yu looked at the entire street. The gambling house's returns are good. They have long wanted to eat this meat, but as long as you are here, they can't eat it, so they want me to die early. Su Hongyi said. She didn't need Lin Yu to teach her what to do next. Young master, if you win, I can go with you. Su Hongyi said apologetically, but I might not be able to return the 1 billion glory bought to you in a short time. It's fine. Lin Yu smiled noncommittally. Actually, he was already the biggest winner since he had managed to scam 2 billion glory bot. Take the rest as your reward, Mr. Su. He knew that the benefits that Su Hongyi would bring to him in the future would be hundreds or thousands of times greater than 1 billion glory bot. When Su Hongyi saw how generous Lin Yu was and realized that there was a world of difference between him and the people from the other factions, she had a good impression of him. Thank you, Master Lin. But I still have a question. Speak. What does Sect Master Lin want me to do in the inner area? Of course it's to take back what originally belonged to you. My things? Lin Yu nodded. Don't you want to avenge your mother's death? These words were like sharp needles stabbing into Su Hongyi's heart. Her jade-like hands were clenched tightly in her sleeves. Her fingernails dug into her flesh, causing a little bit of red to seep out. However, Su Hongyi did not feel any pain at all. On the contrary, the pain in his heart was 10 times worse than the pain in his hands. There's not a day that goes by that I don't want to kill her. Su Hongyi clenched her teeth. But I'm useless. I can't do anything to her with my strength. Even if I appear, you won't even be able to see Patriarch Bodhi's face. Lin Yu interrupted Su Hongyi, afraid that she would take things too hard and explode. He did not want to comfort a woman in such a state. What do you want to do, Sect Master? Can you tell me? Su Hongyi looked at him pleadingly. Take down Madame Bodhi and let you take over. Su Hongyi's beautiful eyes lit up with hope. Really? She had buried her hatred in her heart for so many years, and there was no one she could talk to. Because she did not know who she could trust and who she could trust. The only thing she could do was hide in this city. Once the portal opened and Patriarch Bodhi arrived, she would be the first to know. Do I look like I'm lying to you? Lin Yu raised his hand. However, Su Hongyi looked at him suspiciously. I think you've lied to a lot of people. Lin Yu's face twitched. Why do you say that? Su Hongyi looked out the door. That girl is interested in you, but Sect Master turned a blind eye. Lin Yu's face darkened. Su Hongyi continued, and Zhang Lingyi, he's also looking for trouble because of a woman. Of course, with Sect Master Lin's ability, you don't have to worry about such trouble. I just want to answer your question. Alright, do you believe me or not? I do. Su Hongyi nodded in the end. Sect Master, you can force that woman away. That's why I believe you. Then why don't you just say you believe me? What's with stepping on me? Lin Yu muttered in his heart, but he still welcomed this new ally. That's good. Make the arrangements and find me at the Loki sect. So soon. Su Hongyi did not expect him to leave so soon. As soon as possible. Lin Yu had already turned and left the casino. I'll wait for you at the Loki sect. With that said, Charm followed. The two walked very quickly and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Seeing this, the maidservant came in. Master, Sect Master Lin. Make the preparations and pack up all the valuables. If you can't take them away, sell them. Su Hongyi's words confused the maidservant. Don't you understand? This servant. Master, are you moving? Yes, I might not be able to come back alive if I leave. Su Hongyi sighed softly. She obviously knew that going to the inner area with Lin Yu was the Bodhi sect's territory. She would be like a lamb entering a tiger's den. But if she stayed here, it would be even more dangerous. Without Lin Yu, who could force Madame Bodhi away? Accessories and cultivation methods are easy to sell, but this is a casino. Who will we sell them to? The maidservant asked again. Aren't those guys waiting for my casino to close down? Su Hongyi was determined to leave. She smiled and said, Then let's hold an auction as soon as possible and sell this place. Let those who want it fight for it. Yes. The maidservant left. Su Hongyi looked around. This was her place of residence. In an instant she felt comfortable all over. This place was like a shackle that bound her and was the source of her fear. Now that she was going to face the terrifying Madame Bodhi, she was not as afraid as she had imagined. Lin Yu, can I really trust you? When Lin Yu returned to where the Loki sect was, Charm followed behind him. Are you going to take that woman to the inner area? Yes. But she's only at the unresolvable stage. What's the use? Lin Yu smiled. Are you jealous? Get lost. Who's jealous of you? Mei immediately said angrily. Seeing that Lin Yu did not say anything, she panicked. All right, I was too harsh. Don't mind me. She stood in front of Lin Yu. Hey, I'm talking to you. Chapter 241. Go ahead. Lin Yu smiled helplessly. It was better to treat such a woman badly. Charm's specialty was to yield to force but not persuasion. I just want to know, what are you going to do next? Why would someone in the law realm care about a mere transcendent realm like me? When the Mei heard this, she realized that she had said something wrong. She looked down on Su Hongyi's invincible realm. But wouldn't Lin Yu's realm be even lower? I didn't mean that. Don't keep me in suspense. Tell me quickly, okay? Charm pulled Lin Yu's hand helplessly. The latter shrugged. Use her to open up the inner area's network. As long as Su Hongyi is there, it's equivalent to having the Bodhi sect's help. You want to bring the Loki sect to the inner area? Charm immediately guessed Lin Yu's plan. You're not stupid. Charm snorted softly. You're the stupid one. But you already have Madame Bodhi's help. What else do you need Su Hongyi for? Lin Yu stepped forward. You were eavesdropping just now? Otherwise, how would Charm know the difference between Su Hongyi and Madame Bodhi? Forget it. Lin Yu was too lazy to care about this. He only said, Madame Bodhi is not a stable friend, but Su Hongyi is. Do you understand? No. Charm pursed her lips. She would be a fool if she believed him. Why don't you say that Su Hongyi is more charming than Madame Bodhi? That way, I'll believe you more easily. Lin Yu smiled helplessly. You can understand it that way. Sure enough, it's for a woman. Charm shook her head regretfully. In fact, with your ability, it's a little overkill to establish yourself in a quasi-emperor sect. Her sudden words made Lin Yu stop in his tracks and look at her with interest. Seeing Lin Yu stop, Charm immediately struck while the iron was hot. What I mean is, if you join Hellgate, I can explain to Lady Nuba. Explain what? Lin Yu smiled softly. He wanted to hear more. In the 100,000 years that he had been trapped, he had roughly understood this woman. But at that time, his understanding of the body and techniques was not as detailed as it was now. Or rather, after knowing her for a longer period of time, he found something even more interesting. For example, Mei's conflicts and entanglements along the way. It means that Wang Liang's matter has nothing to do with you, Mei said through gritted teeth. But aren't you lying? I was the one who killed Wang Liang. Lin Yu had an indifferent look on his face, but his heart was filled with emotions. In the past, he could not force Charm to betray Nuba, even when the two of them were happy. But now, could this be considered as Charm betraying Nuba for his sake? From Mei's point of view, Lin Yu's indifferent reaction made her heart beat faster. She was furious. So what if I lied once? If Lady Nuba finds out that you killed Wang Liang, he'll definitely kill me, even cruelly. Lin Yu said casually. Mei's shoulders immediately sank and he became dispirited. Since you know, but if you join the ghost sect, I can hide this matter for you forever. What if I say no? Lin Yu still wanted to know the worst outcome. I'll kill you, Mei said coldly. But in Lin Yu's eyes, there were tears in her eyes. Lin Yu knew that he couldn't continue and patted her shoulder. Let's talk about it after you recover your cultivation. After saying that, he went straight into the sect master's hall. This was originally the place where the Raging Fire Temple was located, but now it had become the headquarters of the Loki sect. In fact, after Lin Yu looked around, this place was even more spectacular than the previous raging fire temple. It seemed that the other members of the Loki sect had also spent a lot of effort to transform this place. "Greetings, sect master." The guards immediately recognized Lin Yu and knelt down in fear. Lin Yu remembered that these 8 guards were brought into the monster beast forest by Shen Yanran. He didn't expect them to become the guards of the Loki sect. No need to be so polite. Just as Lin Yu said that, 2 guards ran in and shouted, "Sect Master is back, Sect Master is back." Lin Yu's face twitched. He wanted to say that they shouldn't be so high-profile. Wasn't this going against his principles? But he didn't have time to say it. Rewarding the good and punishing the evil. "Greetings, Sect Master." Yang Kai and Qin Wunyan arrived first. Under Lin Yu's orders, they returned to the Loki sect through the world-crossing gate. The 12th elder greets Sect Master. Immediately after, Qin Ji, Yao Gu, and the others also arrived one after another. Looking at Lin Yu, who was worshipped by tens of thousands of people, Mei stood behind Lin Yu and suddenly remembered the feeling of pretending to be a little girl in the gambling house. In fact, it didn't feel bad. "Get up," Lin Yu said calmly. Qin Ji took a step forward. "Sect Master, there are guests. It's those 2 old guys, right? Sect Master is really good at foresight." Qin Ji was already admiring Lin Yu's wisdom. "They are now in the reception hall. I wanted to wait for you to come back and inform them. But these 2 are very stubborn. They both said they want to wait for you to come back." "Then let them wait." Lin Yu smiled faintly. Qin Ji whispered, "Sect Master, this is?" She was naturally referring to Mei, who was following behind Lin Yu. She had seen her twice from beginning to end, but Lin Yu had never formally introduced her. "Her?" Lin Yu glanced at Mei. News about her should not appear in the outer territory. When this sentence fell into Qin Ji's ears, the latter immediately frowned. "I understand." It seemed that this woman was not simple. Qin Ji knew Lin Yu well. So far, there was no one who could make Lin Yu unwilling to even say their name. Qin Ji was also surprised that she could not see through this beautiful woman's cultivation. Then, there were only 2 possibilities. Either she was just a mortal with no cultivation, or she was a terrifying existence that surpassed her by too much. It was not difficult for Qin Ji to guess that Mei belonged to the latter. "Where is he?" Lin Yu interrupted her absent-mindedness. Qin Ji was stunned. "I followed your previous arrangement and specially set up the Saintess Palace. He is now in the Saintess Palace." "Good." Lin Yu was about to go to the Saintess Palace after hearing this. Qin Ji was stunned. "Sect Master, aren't you going to meet those 2 big shots first? Let them wait." "All right, arrange something for me," he whispered in Qin Ji's ear. Qin Ji was stunned for a moment after hearing this. When she wanted to ask, Lin Yu waved his hand and went straight to the Saintess Palace. When the others saw this, they stood up one after another. The sect master's actions are indeed mysterious. I heard that the sect master used to be in was called the Wangxian sect. At that time, he was a sage king and was as famous as the little saintess. It seems that the sect master also misses the little saintess. Bastard, he has too many women. Mei stomped her feet. How could she not tell that Lin Yu was going to find other women? Chapter 242. No wonder he's unwilling to join Hellgate. Charm glanced at the few people from Loki's sect. The women here are too beautiful. Mississippi, Qin Ji's voice interrupted her grumbling. The former bowed slightly. Sect Master has arranged a residence for you. Please follow me. The rest also dispersed under Qin Ji's orders. Even the maidservants were not left behind. Qin Ji personally sent Charm over. Along the way, Charm admired the scenery of Loki's sect. Have you been here all this time? Charm asked ambiguously. Qin Ji, who was in front, slowed down. Sect Master snatched this place for us. We just arrived here not long ago. Snatched? Charm's eyes widened. He really is a bad guy. No. Qin-ji was afraid that Lin Yu would ruin his image in front of this big shot, so she explained, this was originally Raging Fire Temple's place, but people from Raging Fire Temple were always targeting Sect Master. So Sect Master snatched it over. Raging Fire Temple provoked him first? Yes. Qin-ji nodded gently. Charm burst into laughter. Then that Raging Fire Temple deserves it. They actually dared to provoke that guy. Miss, have you known our sect master for a long time? Not long, just a few days. Qin-ji didn't hide anything from her, so Charm answered truthfully and asked again, where were you guys before? 4 Directions Star Region, a very distant and weak place. Charm could not help but laugh after hearing that. So he came from there. I know about the 4 Directions Star Region. He took me there. As soon as she said that, Qin-ji's heart trembled. Sect Master took you there? Yes, he was very fast. He arrived in an instant. He's really a person full of secret. On Charm's pretty face, she could not help but feel happy when Lin Yu was mentioned. Qin-ji saw this scene. How could she not see the subtle relationship between the two? Sect Master seems to like you very much. Otherwise, he wouldn't have deliberately brought you back to his previous place. How could he like me? Charm turned her face away, but Qin-ji could not help but sigh when she saw her slightly blushing face. This scoundrel really went out to flirt again. He's just using me. He took away a very large tree from there. The power of law on that tree needs me to resist it. May explained. The moment the words left Charm's mouth, she realized that she had exposed her realm. Qin-ji's heart was in turmoil. As expected, she was in the law realm. Only a quasi-emperor level sect would have someone in the law realm. Furthermore, May was already at the law realm at such a young age. She had personally witnessed the scene of Madame Bodhi shaking the entire outer realm. Qin-ji couldn't help but feel a sense of loss. Right now, she was only in the unyielding realm. No wonder Lin Yu would bring Charm back to the 4 Directions galaxy. Miss, you don't have to worry. Qin-ji will keep this matter a secret. May heaved a sigh of relief. I didn't hide it on purpose. It's just that he didn't want me to say it because he wanted to protect you. Qin-ji naturally understood that the existence of the law boundary was in the Emperor Gate star field. Only quasi-emperors and emperor sects would possess them. If any of them were involved, it would be a disaster for the current low-profile sect. Sect Master protects us, but with our abilities, we can't protect Sect Master. Qin-ji couldn't help but clench her fists. Seeing this, Charm comforted her. With him around, your low-profile sect will become an even more powerful sect sooner or later. This outer realm, soon, you won't be able to stay. Qin-ji asked in surprise. Miss, you also know Sect Master's next plan? Charm nodded. His ambition is great, and his ability is enough to support his ambition. How could he be willing to stay in this star field? The inner realm, or even the core, is where he will shine. After hearing this, Qin-ji's heart couldn't help but boil. The inner realm and the core. Yes, Sect Master will take us there. A few months ago, Qin-ji was still in the forgotten immortal sect. If they hadn't met Lin Yu, they wouldn't even have dared to imagine coming to the Emperor Gate star field. But now, they were a high-level sect in the outer realm. For the low-key clansmen, this was already like a dream. However, Lin Yu had already done it. Qin-ji didn't dare to imagine what the next step would be, but as long as Lin Yu did it, she believed that he could do it. The two of them came to the door of a room with a delicate fragrance. Miss, please rest here first. Sect Master has arranged other things for me to do. Okay. Charm nodded and suddenly thought of something. Please wait, is Miss Qin-yi very important to him? Qin-ji smiled. She naturally understood what was on Charm's mind. Sect Master values relationship. He treats everyone the same. Hearing this, Charm heaved a sigh of relief. In the Saintess Palace, as soon as Lin Yu arrived at the palace gate, a few maidservants immediately knelt down to greet him. Greetings, greetings, sect master. They were trembling with fear. This was the first time many of them had seen Lin Yu's true appearance. However, as long as one of them recognized him, the rest followed suit and knelt down. Rise. Are the saintesses inside? Lin Yu asked. The few of them looked at each other. The 108 saintesses are all inside. Lin Yu was stunned. It was only then that he recalled that he had taken in all the saintesses of the dead 7 Yi Demon Emperor. Sect Master, I'll go inform them now. No need. I'll go in and take a look myself. As soon as Lin Yu's voice fell, he had already disappeared. The maidservants were startled. Did you see how Sect Master left? Everyone shook their heads. That movement technique is too fast. In the inner hall of the Saintess Palace, before Lin Yu even entered, he could already hear the chattering of the ladies. It hurts. Sister, I can't press on it anymore. No, my leg's going to break. These were all women's delicate voices. Lin Yu took a peek with great interest. Oh my God! In front of him, the huge hall was decorated with fresh flowers. The Yao Qi above the flowers formed a cyclone that looked like a cotton bed. At this moment, hundreds of women were fixed in different positions. What's going on? Lin Yu looked at those postures. Some of them were even more alluring, and their curves were fully displayed. If not for his strong willpower, he probably would not have been able to hold himself back. However, when the women heard his voice, they were immediately shocked. How dare you? This is the Saintess Palace. No men are allowed to enter. A few of them shouted sternly. However, when they saw Lin Yu, their faces turned pale. A few of them even fell from the cyclone cotton bed. You baddie! You're finally here. A familiar voice came from behind Lin Yu. Before he could turn around, a pair of fair wrists had already wrapped around his waist. Chapter 243. You recognize me from the back? The man who is in my mind every day, how can I not recognize you? Qin Yi's gentle voice came. Lin Yu's heart warmed. He held her slightly cold hand and turned it in front of him. I listen to your story every day from my mother. Demon Beast Forest, the recognition of a high-level sect, the destruction of the Raging Fire Temple, the Realm Gate that forced the Bodhi sect to retreat. Brother Yu, you're even more powerful than before. Lin Yu didn't care about this. He wrapped his arm around Qin Yi's waist and pulled her in front of him. Whether I'm powerful or not, you'll know after you try. They're still here. Qin Yi quickly turned her face away and said shyly, Let's go inside. Wait, what are they practicing? Lin Yu asked. Qin Yi immediately smiled. Of course, they're practicing for you. After Qin Yi finished speaking, she waved her hand at these saintesses. For a time, there was an endless stream of women crying out in pain in the Saintess Palace. 30 hours later, Lin Yu left the Saintess Palace. As for the saintesses inside, they were all sleeping soundly. They were completely exhausted. Lin Yu stretched and looked at the Loki sect under the bright moon. He couldn't help but sigh. It's just practicing yoga. How can I be so tired? He shook his head. Qin Yi taught him the wrong method, causing him to guide her for 20 hours. Of course, there were also 6 hours where he personally guided Qin Yi in various postures. The night was as dark as ink. Lin Yu returned to the sect master's hall and saw Qin Ji waiting outside. Seeing Lin Yu's arrival, Qin Ji stared at him. He actually went for a day and a night. Qin Ji bowed first. Sect master, the things you arranged have been done. Great Elder really does things well. With your assistance, the future of the Loki sect is promising. Lin Yu praised. Qin Ji lowered her head. Sect master, you flatter me. This is Qin Ji's duty. She could not help but recall what Mei had said. She kept reminding herself that she had to work harder so that she would not become Lin Yu's burden. If she couldn't even protect her own sect master in the future, she felt that she wasn't worthy of being the great elder. What are you thinking about? Seeing that Qin Ji was deep in thought, Lin Yu interrupted her. You have something on your mind. Please forgive me, sect master. I will explain the arrangements now. Qin Ji bowed and continued. We now have a total of 37 halls, including the sect leader hall, Saintess Palace, 12 Elders Hall, and left and right emissaries' palace. In terms of resources, there was a total of 179 billion glory bot. This included the 80 billion glory bot that was distributed to the inner region after they became a high-ranking sect. As for the cultivation methods, weapons, spirit artifacts, and array diagrams that were originally given to us by the inner zone. Wait. Lin Yu's right hand sucked, and Qin Ji flew backward, landing in front of the dragon throne in the sect leader's palace. Sect master. Cover. Qin Ji had been deep in thought since just now. Seeing this, Lin Yu pressed down on her hair with one hand. 4 hours later, Qin Ji's swallowing sound was heard. She looked at Lin Yu as if she was begging for mercy. If you don't say it, I'll do it again. No. Qin Ji's hoarse voice sounded. Sect master is getting more and more powerful. What else? Also, I just feel that I've dragged you down, sect master. Oh. Lin Yu lifted Qin Ji's slightly thin chin. Because of Mei? Mei. Qin Ji sucked in a breath of cold air. That lady is one of the 4 ghost generals of the ghost sect, the Mei general? I thought she told you. Qin Ji shook her head and said, Lady Mei didn't say a word. She just accidentally revealed her cultivation, so I felt. You feel pressured? Lin Yu guessed. Anyone would feel pressured when an invincible realm expert was in front of a law realm expert. However, some people would be even more stagnant because of this pressure. Some people could turn pressure into motivation. Qin Ji nodded honestly, afraid that Lin Yu would punish her again. Sect Master's path is destined to be extraordinary, and You've done very well. Lin Yu interrupted her self-blame. After we set off for the inner area, I'll find a chance to help you improve your cultivation. As long as you're in a stronger environment, you'll naturally improve. Humans are born with the ability to adapt to the environment. It's just that many people don't have confidence in themselves at first. In Lin Yu's plan, every woman was different. Qin Yi was waiting. When he was tired, as long as he went to Qin Yi, his exhaustion would disappear. Qin Ji was assisting. With her behind Lin Yu, the low-key sect had always been in order. Really? Qin Ji's eyes were filled with hope. If the things I said are ready, I'll bring the entire low-key sect to the inner area tomorrow. But I heard that opening the realm crossing gate requires the power of the law realm. This was something public in the outer area. Only a law realm sect could become a quasi-emperor sect. After obtaining the approval of 2 quasi-emperor sects, coupled with the existence of the law realm, it could be promoted to a quasi-emperor sect. At that time, the resources it would obtain would be much greater than now. By the way, those 2 people have been in our low-key sect. You haven't gone to the guest hall late at night, so I've arranged for them to stay. They don't want to leave anyway. Then let them wait. Summon them here tomorrow morning. Lin Yu smiled and cuddled with Qin Ji for a few more hours before letting her leave. Lin Yu still hadn't reached the final step in his relationship with Qin Yi, Qin Yi's fake mother. At present, only Qin Yi had reached the final step the day before he escaped. That was the last time Lin Yu enjoyed a woman without restraint. As for the other women, Lin Yu was worried that he would owe too much responsibility. He didn't want these things to become his concern in a future war. No matter how late it was, there was no light in low-key sect other than the fire of the night patrol. Lin Yu entered the back hall alone. This was his bedroom. Under Qin Ji's care, it was warm and comfortable. However, just as Lin Yu lay down, he saw a beautiful figure fly in from the night. Lin Yu immediately recognized this beautiful figure's familiar movement technique as she sent a kick at him. He seized the opportunity to grab the other party's ankle, leaned his body forward, and pressed on top of him. A long time ago, this was how he met Yi Mingyue. I missed you so much. Warm and fragrant panting lingered in Lin Yu's ears. The moonlight shone on Yi Mingyue's exquisite silhouette. This beauty who had missed Lin Yu for a long time did not waste any time hiding her thoughts. She stood on her tiptoes and wrapped her fair wrists around Lin Yu's neck. Her fragrant lips approached. The next day, Lin Yu opened his eyes. Yi Mingyue was leaning on her thin chin and looking at him carefully. You can't bear to leave? Yi Mingyu nodded her head and let out a nasal sound. I'm afraid that if I leave, I won't be able to see you for a long time. Chapter 244. Yi Mingyue's clothes were still intact. Lin Yu didn't really touch her, which made her even more reluctant to part with him. Will you stop for a woman one day? Yi Mingyue lay in Lin Yu's arms. Don't laugh at me. I didn't say that woman was me. She buried her face in Lin Yu's chest, deep in thought. Along the way, more and more beautiful women appeared around Lin Yu. The 5 fairies of wind and moon, Dongwang Feiyu, and even Charm from yesterday, all of which made his heart ache. No way. Lin Yu said honestly, I'm a man who doesn't have good luck with women. Don't have good luck with women? Then what am I? Yi Mingyue glanced at him grumpily. The vibrant morning light shone on her face. She stuck out her tongue and said, Bad guy, since I can't keep you, I have to make you leave something for me. After saying that, she took out a red and white pill from her storage ring. Lin Yu recognized the pill at a glance. Xiaobing gave it to you? Yi Mingyue nodded slightly and put the pill in her mouth. Then, she opened Lin Yu's blanket and buried her head in it. It was an ice fire pill. You're so energetic early in the morning? Lin Yu obviously guessed what this little beauty wanted to do. You're too energetic. He immediately heard Yi Mingyue's hesitant voice. But in less than an hour, a man and a woman's voices came from outside the hall. Xiao Mo of the Dragon Sealing City of the 9 Luminaries. Xin Suyi of the Emperor's Sect wants to see Sect Master Lin. It was obvious that the 2 people who had been waiting for Lin Yu in the reception hall yesterday were these 2 people. Yi Mingyue trembled. What should we do? Come with me. Lin Yu lifted the blanket. Don't look. Yi Mingyue exclaimed in surprise. Lin Yu was amused. He pulled her wrist and pulled her under the table. No, they are the sect masters of high-ranked sections. Their divine senses are powerful. They will discover me. Yi Mingyue said worriedly, but Lin Yu pressed her hair down. In the next moment, a majestic divine sense instantly blocked the front of the table. If it wasn't for the existence whose divine sense was far superior to Lin Yu's, no one would be able to detect the beauty under the table. Sect Master Lin, you're a busy man. I can finally meet you. Xiao Mo and Xin Suyi stepped into the hall. The former immediately cupped his fists and said, Sect Masters, may I know why you've come to look for Lin Yu? Hearing this, Xiao Mo and Xin Suyi looked at each other, both of them hesitating to speak. What is it? Lin Yu smiled faintly. Xiao Mo awkwardly asked, Sect Master Lin, can I have a word with you? Yi Mingyue, who was under the table, was startled. Lin Yu only felt a little prickle. Since you don't want to say it, then there's no need. How could I possibly talk to you in private right now? Yes, City Master Xiao. If you feel that Suyi is a hindrance, then there's no need to speak. Xin Suyi also mocked and ridiculed. Xiao Mo's old face twitched. Haha, it's nothing. Sect Master Shen can listen. In his heart, he thought that Lin Yu was still angry about him, so he didn't buy it. Xiao Mo felt helpless about this. His storage ring flashed, and countless brocade boxes and glory baths flew out. In the next moment, Xiao Mo's painful voice was heard. Sect Master Lin, I'm guilty. He pretended to be ashamed and said, "That day, I listened to Zhang Lingyi's one-sided story and almost did something wrong to the Loki sect. This old man is here to ask for forgiveness from sect leader Lin." After saying that, Xiao Mo bowed and froze there. Shen Sui's eyes widened. No wonder this old man didn't say anything. He even wanted to kick her out. So he wanted to do such a shameless thing. Actually hiss. Lin Yu took a deep breath. After calming down, he said, "The alliance between Loki sect and 9 Luminaries Dragon Sealing City is over. City Master Zhao's choice is your business. Why do you need to explain it to me?" This, Xiao Mo saw that Lin Yu didn't even look at the gifts and knew that this matter wouldn't be resolved so easily. He decided to use the hard way if the soft way didn't work. Sect Master Lin. Xiao Mo sighed. Tang Xian and Zhang Lingyi have already become engaged. I've also checked the Xian sect. Not long after Tang Xian went to the Xian sect, Zhang Lingyi also went there by chance. The two fell in love at first sight. As for the result, Sect Master Lin saw it. Lin Yu frowned. He knew this Xiao Mo before. This person was utilitarian and wasn't likable. Just say what you want to say. Xiao Mo quickly bowed again. Xiao Mo was wrong about the promotion. However, it was also for Xian. At this moment, Shen Sui, as a woman, couldn't help but look down on him. City Master Xiao, if Tang Xian is really willing to marry Zhang Lingyi, can you explain why Zhang Lingyi came to the outer region and targeted Loki sect? I'm wrong. I should say that Zhang Lingyi is targeting our sect Master Lin. As for the reason, everyone can see it clearly. Tang Xian and sect Master Lin went through thick and thin together in the demonic beast forest. Xiao Mo's face turned even uglier. However, Shen Sui still didn't let it go. Even Tang Xian's prince status was given to her by sect Master Lin. Now that your 9 Luminaries Dragon Sealing City has gained power because of the prince, you disregarded sect Master Lin's friendship and targeted his Loki sect. Enough! Xiao Mo couldn't take it anymore. Sect Master Shen, this is between me and sect Master Lin. His face was ashen. Shen Sui snorted again. She knew why Xiao Mo was angry. Xiao Mo felt that he was in the wrong and couldn't refute her. That was the biggest reason. I've already said this. It's my fault. Although Xiao Mo's words sounded like he was apologizing, his tone wasn't apologetic at all. I hope that sect Master Lin won't interfere with Tang Xian and Zhang Lingyi's matter. After hearing that, even Shen Sui fell silent. She immediately remembered Qing Qing's words. Lin Yu couldn't be made an enemy of. Time and time again, Qing Qing's words were proven right. However, Shen Sui was still looking forward to Xiao Mo's warning in front of the young overlord of the outer region. What would happen? Are you done? Lin Yu's calm voice sounded. It was as if Xiao Mo's words couldn't shake his mind at all. Yes, Sect Master Lin. I know that Sect Master Lin is clear about kindness and hatred. Zhang Lingyi targeted you, so you'll take revenge. Xiao Mo thought that he had seen through Lin Yu. Interesting. Xiao Mo, do you think I dare to go against a quasi-emperor sect? No. Xiao Mo immediately shook his head. But even if Sect Master Lin interferes a little, Tang Xian might. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.